and gentlemen, welcome to SCANLINES episode 7. The podcast is available on all audio platforms and YouTube with the video. I'm going to throw it right away. We're getting right into it. New segment. We're going to start off every podcast with pickups. We always are collecting. I know a couple of us in this room right now have new things we're collecting for. So I want to start it off. I'm hyped to show all of you guys. Sadly, Danny and Anthony aren't here because this is the biggest pickup I've had in a while. Are you ready?
Oh, really?
Are you ready?
Eric.
Oh, are you starting it off? Yeah, hell yeah,
No.
dude. Oh, let's see it. Yeah, Danny and Ant not being here is a bummer. Oh, it looks heavy, dude. Oh! Yes, dude. The Sega Dreamcast complete in box.
Complete US inbox launch edition.
Dude, that's the sick. I forgot how cool the North American box looks. The design of it.
I love that they do this weird, like, why do they make it like a thermal? like it's got heat.
A military project.
That's some late 90s shit right there, man. That's great.
Dude,
And
you got a controller.
wow.
Look at these are honestly this
Dude.
box pretty clean. Like pretty good condition.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not
hell
gonna lie.
yeah, I can tell.
And I'm surprised.
That's awesome.
I've been looking for a Dreamcast for so long. Just like
Yes.
like months, dude.
Yes.
It's been months. I've been patient. I almost spent like $180 for like I wanted like a boxed version. I got this. It was like the thing went up for like 2 hours. It was $130.
Really? Sorry.
Not terrible. Not terrible. I say it's one of the lower
No,
prices
that's
I've
not
seen.
bad at all, I don't think. Dude, I am such a big Dreamcast fan that like even if you told me like if this was $300, it wouldn't faze me cuz like it's worth it, I think, in my opinion.
Dude,
I personally think you're going to have a blast with it. And I know you like JRPGs, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever played Skies of Arcadia?
No, I was looking at that. And Time Stalkers.
Time Stalkers is subpar, if anything, compared to that game.
No, I heard
Just gonna
Skies of
say.
Arcadia, yeah.
It's fucking. I don't even. I say this almost every podcast, but I'm not the biggest JRPG fan, and I've had a good time with that game. It's very fun. Like, and they do a cool thing with the style of it, the music, the way it's just very polished for a JRPG. Like sometimes they can feel a little clunky or a little janky or a little like just like copy pasted from previous formulas. That one, 2 is on there too, I think. Grandia 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean,
you have a bunch of JRPGs.
in America, like I'm a very like boxed collector. Like I don't like getting loose discs and stuff. A little pricey in America. It's a little pricey.
Well, that's where I. Or sorry, sorry.
No, you go.
I was gonna say that's where having a friend who lives in Japan comes in handy, because if you want to purchase a certain game in the US and it's too expensive, but it's cheap here, I recommend you buy it through me, and I can either send it in the mail or just give it to you the next time I see you, but it's yours. Like just knowing it's yours. Oh, the music just cut out, huh?
Oh damn.
The music bot.
I gotta change the camera.
Sorry about that. That was my fault for having the music playing while we were getting ready this morning. Sorry.
No, we're good.
No, yeah, but like long answer short is you could have me buy the game for you, and then you could just burn the disc and run it on your Dreamcast in the meantime. But know that you own it, because I'll have like a thing for you, and I'll send it to you. If you ever want, just let me know, because that's what I do personally to save a lot of money. I own the Japanese copy, and then I just burn the English version of it. The only games that you can't do that with that I know of off the top of my head is Shenmue.
I think there's a couple ones you can't, right?
It's too big. Like the burnable discs, like for music, are about 700 megabytes, and those games are they're about a full gig. So those are some exception games that you can't do. But I don't think Shenmue is too expensive, and even if it is, well, the most you'd pay for an English version in Japan is called US Shenmue. That goes for like $60. It was like they re-released the English version of the game in Japan for some reason. So it has Japanese subtitles, but it's in English. So it's, if you are really desperate for a copy, let me know. But you can also get it on Steam for $5. So just whatever you want to do.
I actually saw Shenmue like I thought Shenmue was like, I remember like growing up, it was always like Shenmue's like the rarest game. I don't know why I always thought that. But like I see it around for like cheaper than a lot of other games.
Well, I
it's
think
probably pretty common.
the thing about Shenmue is that there was a lot of like stigma around it because it was such like at the time it was a big game because it had like it was like I think at the time it was being made, it was like the biggest budget for a game ever, right?
Yeah.
And you know, and it was kind of like open world-ish, and like people were walking around. The graphics were like crazy, and it was on the Sega Dreamcast, right? So, I think one thing to comment about the Sega Dreamcast is like the lifespan of the console is so short, but the the library is so solid. It's like there's so many good games, right? And it brings that arcade experience home.
Well, yeah, and the reason bouncing off of that you do get the arcade experience is they literally just took the Naomi 2, which is what was in the arcades at the time. The set, like that was what was running their games, like Crazy Taxi.
Really?
I could be wrong about these details, but more or less they took the guts from the arcade system, and it's called the Naomi, and they pretty much just made it a home console, and that's the Dreamcast. So that's why you get so many ports like Crazy Taxi and House of the Dead. Also, Typing of the Dead, dude.
I
highly
want that so
recommend
bad. I want it so bad.
If you need a keyboard for cheap and it's too expensive there, I can buy you one here for like $20.
True, I could do that. Oh, yeah.
Yep,
I need one for sure.
It's awesome. Typing of the Dead is awesome. Super fun. If you actually need to work on your typing, I'm not even joking. It's a really good way to learn because I wanted to learn how to actually like use all my like finger digits, like rather than just like because I can type fast with like muscle memory, but I wanted to do it proper. Typing of the Dead.
Yeah, man. People were saying that like some schools and high schools used to like teach typing with that, like typing in the Dead game, like in America and stuff. That's kind of cool.
My Christian parents would have sent a really strong worded letter.
Yeah, definitely.
What's with this evil?
Definitely no Catholic schools playing that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, dude, congratulations. That's awesome. Man. Have you fired it up yet, or is it still in box? You've kept it.
I took it out. The one thing about the console is very yellowed, but I think I can fix that.
Yeah, get some of that bright whatever. Yeah. What's it called?
Retro bright.
I saw people doing UV lights though, and like getting really good results. Like not even with it's basically like a hair salon bleach that they use.
Right. Yeah, I've never done it myself, but I know what you're talking about.
I know sometimes that can be a little more dangerous to the console.
Okay.
But with the UV lights, I've seen like a lot of people you just have to put it on for a long time. Well,
I mean, I think you take all the motherboard guts out before you do it anyways, so you should be fine.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to ask is the guy also included, because I know there's we can get into this on different podcasts. I kind of want to do more focused podcasts about certain consoles and stuff. I think Dreamcast is a great one because it has so many cool accessories and like the different ways to, display games, and, there's this whole like, we could go on forever with that. But the guy included like a VGA cable.
Fuck like, yeah, there you go.
So I was kind of like, that's awesome. Sick to include, because normally you got to like get a whole, like I think the retro makes like a connector and stuff.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, because it supports VGA natively, which is very uncommon for consoles, you don't actually necessarily have to own a CRT with SCANLINES. I know this is the SCANLINES podcast. We love a tube TV. We love it retro, but you don't necessarily have to. You can just get a normal flat monitor, like an older, just a cheap $20, $30, $40 Goodwill purchase monitor.
Yeah.
You're good to go. No lag. It's going to look incredible. And you can almost treat it like an arcade unit, like especially when you fire up Crazy Taxi and just have it kind of running in the corner of your room, dude. Like that 60 frames per second looks so smooth and so crisp. It's actually unbelievable how well it's aged, in my opinion. Like some of the controls, obviously for older games, are still kind of tanky. Like you play Resident Evil and it's tank controls, but the graphics are awesome. Yeah. Like you're going to be impressed, I think. As a retro guy.
Yeah. Well, funny story. I don't want to take up too much time with my pickup, but
that's okay.
Funny story about, I remember I told Sebastian before about the pickup because I always kind of just share. Because whenever I get something, I have to tell someone, dude, because I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta let someone know.
Yeah.
So he asked me if I had any Dreamcast games, and I'm like, I don't right now. So I definitely got to pick up Sonic Adventure because we're gonna, all play that hopefully and. To figure that out. I actually do have a Dreamcast game, and I found it. So at my job, I like manage a bunch of spaces, like warehouse spaces and stuff. And like a lot of the times, like people, like we have to evict them or something. And this one guy was like basically a hoarder. He had just like so many different things. We had to clean out the whole place, like redo it, paint it, and everything, dude. And he had a bunch of like CDs. I found like porn DVDs and stuff. And and I found under all, like in the middle of all these porn DVDs, I found Crazy Taxi.
Wow.
On the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
It's it might be a little soiled and dirty, but hopefully it works.
Again,
Again,
even if it doesn't work, you can just burn a copy yourself and play it, and you own the case, so you're good to go. Like that's how I justify it. If you own the game,
hand sanitizer on it,
burn it.
I wonder. I was gonna ask regarding the Dreamcast. So, how old is the console now? It's like going on like 20 years around there.
Came out in
like
99.
Yeah, I think 2020.
Yeah. So
2021 years.
how do the consoles hold up? Because like PS2 fats, like they kind of like have like kind of some consoles have like certain lifespans of like how long they last. So like
I mean, I could attest to mine. It still runs. I haven't modded mine yet.
Right?
Yeah. But they, of course, any disc-based system is prone to eventually break down. You just need to go in and repair it. Most people, once their disk drive breaks, you can replace the disk drive, but most people just switch over to the SD card loading, similar to the GC loader on the GameCube. I have that one on my GameCube, but on the Dreamcast, most people switch to that. So then you just load all your games off of an SD card instead. And then it makes but then you don't get the loud noise of the Dreamcast when it's loading your disc. It's like,
yeah.
Oh no,
that's what I was gonna mention.
That's part of it.
I heard that the disk drive's kind of loud.
It's kind of loud, but it kind of grows on you. I gotta be honest, it kind of grows on you, like
yeah,
because like, go ahead.
I also heard that like actually no, I didn't hear. I'm saying like I'm gonna take this one out of the box right now, but like the console feels so just like solid and like I don't know, like very
It seems it's well designed.
Yeah,
it's definitely a durable, compact, like neat kind of future. It's got like some nice curves. It's a sexy console, and
I was about to say it's very sexy. Like,
it's a sexy console, and it's small. Like,
it's nice and hefty. Like I don't know,
it's a square.
Beautiful. Yeah, but it's got like,
as I always say,
like just put some wheels on it. Like, come on.
That side profile looks nice.
You know what this is?
The sexiest one in existence is the.
You know what this is? That's the toilet opening in Japan.
Yeah, true.
But yeah.
Little spray. Yeah.
It's
little bidet.
I'm surprised they didn't make like a commercial about that being like the toilet or something. I could see that happening.
Our console is a toilet. They may as well have, dude, because their whole campaign was how like Sega wasn't as cool as PlayStation. So it shows like seriously, if you go on YouTube and type in like Sega Dreamcast commercials with like the Sega CEO, it's literally like the CEO just having like a meltdown because he's losing to Sony, and it's like showing, and then the console eventually died. So it's actually really sad. Like it doesn't really make sense as a campaign. That's in Japan. Sorry, I should clarify. That was the Japan.
Yeah. And then they made that campaign. One edition.
In America, they have these weird. Dude. So Sega. We can talk about Sega for a while. Should we do the rest of our pickups and then talk about Sega? Because I can talk about Sega for a while.
Yeah.
On how the Sega Saturn did not bode well for the future of the Dreamcast. It put a lot of people off to Sega in general, but dude, that's awesome. To summarize, that's I'm
the
only reason I was asking if you took it out of the console is I'd love you to test a burned disc just to make sure your version runs them, because some technically don't, but it's pretty uncommon. It's very
launch edition, right? It's the launch edition, so it should, right?
I mean, the guy put the guy in the description put it's the one that burns the disc. So,
there you go.
I'm hoping it should.
Just literally go buy some like for $5, just a thing of blank CDs, and just try to burn. Well, you own Crazy Taxi. Try that game since you own it, and then just if it works, it works. It's good to check and see if Japanese games work, etc., just to make sure it's like region free or whatever. But it should be if it's the right model.
Is it region free?
If you burn the disc, yeah, but not natively. No. Or actually, wait a minute. That is a good question. Is it region free? Actually, because I burned my discs, I'm actually not sure. Actually, I think it's fine because I run Japanese games on it, and I think I own a few American games. Let me check. Region free. I I don't think it is. It's just that it runs discs.
Yeah,
it's saying that this is the model that runs it. This is the HKT 3020.
Okay. It's not natively region free, but you can burn boot discs if you don't want to burn the game itself. So like if you own an American. Uh-oh, are we okay? You put in the disc.
Yeah, I think we're gonna.
And then once the game's loaded, you open the tray, take out the disc, put your game in, close it, and it boots it up. It like bypasses the region lock. But I recommend just burning the game if you're going to do that to save the hassle, because it's... Anyways.
Yeah.
Awesome system. I think that's awesome.
Let's see
and
what you guys
don't end up putting it...
Yeah.
Sure. If you end up not connecting it to your CRT, just find a VGA monitor and have fun, man. That's awesome. A 4x3 one preferred, because it'll look good. I'll do mine because it's quick, and then Sebastian, I think he has some cool stuff to show. I already spoiled this to you guys on our Instagram chat. But Anthony bought this game as a drunk purchase for about $100 a couple months back. And I was like, oh, it actually looks kind of cool. And I wasn't like seeking it out, but I was at a game shop here in Japan and just happened to see it for a very, very cheap price. And since I run my GameCube games off of SD card anyway, if the disc is scratched, it doesn't even matter. I just want to own it. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. This was only... how much? Actually, I don't remember the price that I paid, but I think it was about, like, after conversion, about $15. So very, very, very cheap compared to Anthony.
I love this game.
And
dude, we used to have that game, man.
It's awesome. I never owned it growing up, but it's made by Sonic Team. It's basically kind of I don't know. It kind of feels like Sonic, but you're rolling a big egg. Which almost feels... okay, I'll say one thing really quick, and then I'll actually just move on. But Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg's got great music, great fluid controls. I've only played the first couple stages, but it feels kind of like... almost like Super Monkey Ball, where you have to like get to the end of the stage. But this one requires you to level up your egg in order to be able to break walls and stuff like that. So there's some like... puzzles, there's some monster killing mechanics on top of like the rolling of the ball. So it kind of feels like... Monkey Ball. Well, it's the same team, isn't it? Didn't Sega make Monkey Ball? I don't know if it was the Sonic team necessarily, but
could double check that.
That's probably where they got the idea. Was like, let's just have them rolling the ball, but you can get different balls and level them up. Because depending on the egg you level up, you get different abilities when you hatch the egg. It sounds weird by that description, but it's super awesome, and the music's really good.
Yeah, Sega.
Developed by Sega, Amusement Vision, and published by Sega.
I had one point and I totally forgot it. So never mind. I was going to say one thing and I forgot.
Sorry,
can I get those eggs scrambled?
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
The Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. I thought I had something to say there. I don't know. I guess not. But it's
spend
very
$100.
I didn't have to spend $100. Yeah. So, and again, the disc was like a little scratched when they were like selling it to me. They're like, so just so you know, it's kind of scratched. It's a little scuffed, but. Again, I have the SD mod on mine, so I just load the American version, and it works just fine. I had one more thing to say, but I can't remember. I'll bring it up if I remember. But awesome game, only $15.
I think to comment on Billy Hatcher, I think that game is kind of like a forgotten game because, like, I think at the time when it was coming out, since it was made by Sonic Team, there was a little bit of hype around it. I guess maybe because it's made by the same developer, and then Sonic. But then, and there was commercials for it on TV, I think.
Yeah,
because I remember that song playing. That song I remember playing everywhere, dude.
I never heard of it. Before Anthony bought it, I didn't even know what it was. So it's a good discovery.
I think it's underrated. I think it's underrated game. I think
looks good on a CRT. Like that with component cables.
I mess with it. Like that's the kind of game you want to find if like you have a system and you've been playing it for like. The top games, and you're like, I need something different. There's always games like that, and that's definitely one of them.
It's a very arcadey type of game, which personally I really, really, I think that's why you'll like the Dreamcast. There's a lot of just you boot it up, you play for like 15 minutes, and you're like, all right, I'm good. But you're not like bored. You're just like, I'm good. Like that was a good. You finish one level, 2 levels. Okay, see you next time. And it's a lot easier for me mentally to like boot that kind of game up than boot up something like The Witcher. Or Grand Theft Auto, where you're going to be there all day. I just want to play for 20 minutes. Sometimes that 20 minutes turns into 2 or 3 hours naturally, but I like the arcade.
Honestly, man, I think
thanks for the recommendation.
arcade games are eternal. I'm pretty sure they're
Speaking
gonna be around
of
forever,
arcade games,
Yeah, I got the Sega Genesis recently. Well,
Hey.
Mega Drive here in Japan. They literally, it's kind of like the Dreamcast, where Sega kind of had that formula of just porting their games. Because like they have like Altered Beast and Ghouls and Ghosts. Aladdin feels like an arcade kind of game. It's not, but it feels like it. Sonic, I guess. I don't know. But all the games I own are pretty arcadey, so I boot that up, play for like 20 minutes. Altered Beast, or Shinobi, those are some great games.
Dude, you mentioned, honestly, Aladdin, like the Genesis and the Nintendo one, like we used to play. Honestly, man, I think it's a great, like, just actual game. I think it's kind of similar to like kind of Battletoads in a way. Like I remember, like the Battletoads, like infamous level of like the surfing whatever level.
Mm-hmm. Where they're on the cruise ships or whatever.
It's like impossible.
Yeah.
Like the Aladdin has this one level, like basically the same like thing, and it's so fucking hard.
The magic carpet.
Yeah, man, I love it though. Like, I love that game.
It's very challenging.
It's fun. Go ahead. It's a fun game. It's just like the sprites, the animations, the art style matches the actual.
Yeah.
As kids, we grew up watching Disney movies, so like you felt like you were playing Aladdin, and then like it was good, entertaining. It was entertaining. Yeah, I think it's Capcom. Capcom was making all those games, right? Like the Mickey Mouses, all those like Disney's type games. Capcom was in charge, and they were doing a good job.
Yeah.
They actually hired the actual Disney artists to do the sprite animations for that game, so that's why they look so good. Because it feels fluid as hell. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yo, where's Capcom now, dude?
They're playing Monster Hunter, dude. They're making bank.
Oh, true.
Off of my girlfriend, dude. She's all in. They've got her hooked. She loves those games.
I forgot that's Capcom.
It's Capcom. Yeah. So what else are they? They do well. Also, aren't they doing Resident Evil? Isn't that Capcom?
That's true. Yeah.
The Resident Evil 8. Yeah. So we're like, what are they doing? Well, they are doing some big things, but it's just more like AAA. It's less Disney. I want to see a Disney come back because, anyways, we'll let Sebastian get to his pickup.
Yes. Yeah.
We can talk forever.
So, speaking of arcade, Capcom, and Genesis, and all these games, so I actually have a pickup that's related that I think Eric might know this game. And Mike know this game too.
Mike's falling asleep, dude.
Mike had a rough day. But yeah, so this game that I got, Eric, I don't know if you own this game for the Genesis, because it's actually this game is kind of. Are you guys okay?
Yeah, keep talking, dude.
It just made me laugh. You don't have to stop. Like, keep going. I'm just going.
So
dead air, man.
Am I not allowed to laugh? Yeah, come on, man.
You can. Eric, I don't know if you have this game.
You said that 3 times.
The Sega Genesis, but this game is kind of related to PlayStation and Sega Genesis. So, check this out.
What is it? I have no idea what I'm looking at.
So this is maybe hold on.
It's kind of a lot going on the cover.
Yeah, it's a lot going on the cover.
Can you zoom in? What is that?
I can't get this to focus.
Hey, dude, dead air.
This is called Strider. Strider 1 and 2.
I don't think Eric even knows it.
You don't know it?
I've never heard of it.
You never heard of Strider?
Never heard of it.
Dude, look at this cover, dude. This cover looks. This is probably one of the sickest box art covers, dude. I was hoping Eric would know this. So.
I felt like there's gonna be a big, and I was just like, never heard of it.
All right. Let me educate you then. Let me educate you. So Strider.
You have to educate me.
Strider came out on the. Dude, it came out. So there was an original. I think there was on the NES, but then Sega Mega Drive and Sega Genesis. That's where this game came out. It's an arcade game, and they ported it onto the Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive. And it's like kind of like a Shinobi style, like, side scrolling, like not really a beat 'em up, but it's more like of a action platformer type thing. And yeah, it's a really great game. It's got great mechanics, and they also added it to the PlayStation, and it's made by Capcom, and they developed it on the PlayStation, but they made Strider 2. So this game is actually 1 and 2. It's the arcade version or Genesis, like same one in the Genesis, but it's on PlayStation. And then there's Strider 2 on it, which is a very short game, but it's super cool. Like I think you would like it, Eric. You should check this out.
Okay.
It's honestly
you said it.
Strider's a pretty rare game. So like this is big for Sebastian because he never buys anything, and he spent more than $5 on a game.
Oh my god!
This ran me like 3,800 yen around there.
I don't know if you remember,
and it's in super good condition.
Eric, you played Marvel vs. Capcom, right?
Fuck yeah, dude! Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
So Strider's a character in the game.
Oh, that's who that is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
okay.
That's
I never knew who it was.
Hear you.
So
gotcha.
Strider's like they had arcade cabs, and it's actually a pretty rare cabinet. But it's basically like it's like a Ninja Gaiden Shinobi type of like runner kind of, but like 3D, like side-scrolling 3D kind of, and like it's known for like one of the really good like side-scrolling, like kind of beat 'em up like isometric kind of platformer.
So he's on the Capcom side of Marvel vs. Capcom then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's some weird.
It's definitely an kind of more of an unknown game, but it's pretty rare.
You're telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think you can pick up. I think the first one, which is this cover. You can pick up the first one on your Sega Mega Drive, and you can play it. And dude, it's really cool. The mechanics are. It's like people love it, and because the mechanics are so cool. Like the guy kind of like when he jumps, he does like somersaults, and it's super like fluid. And it's supposed to be a really, really good game. So when I saw it, I was kind of like, I officially started collecting for PlayStation 1. I decided because I got the PS Classic recently. So I was like, I'm just gonna start buying games and then putting them onto my PlayStation Classic and playing them. So it feels better to like own the game. And then there's a lot of cool stuff. Also, Japan has a lot of games that never came out in the US that still haven't been translated and stuff like that. So there's a whole lot of games to collect for here.
And like your point, go ahead, Mike. I'll be quiet. Sorry.
That's Sebastian, I think. I was saying.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No,
I'll talk then. There.
Go ahead.
Going off your point, I'm glad you appreciate that point of like it feels good to own the game and then run it. Because like I say this all the time, but if you get like a PlayStation Classic and mod it and then just download like 2,000 games, you'll never really play it after like a couple days because it's like that Netflix syndrome of having too much that you don't know what to pick. Yep. You'd rather like hit a random button and play something random. So I think you're already coming to appreciate that because now that you bought this game, you invested some money, you don't buy a lot of games. When you load it onto your system, it's going to mean so much more. You're actually going to want to feel like you want to get your money's worth. So you're likely going to play it to completion a lot more than if you just downloaded it. So it's going to make the game a lot more memorable for you, I think. I'm looking at the gameplay on the Mega Drive. It looks definitely like a kind of like a intense Shinobi is how I would describe this.
Dude, it's good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's like there's climbing mechanics. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. And it's a really good game. Yeah, I definitely recommend people checking it out. I fired it up, and the second one is it's crazy because after the second one, this game kind of died, because I think they ran into some kind of production trouble. The original creator, and they were like, there was a lot of turnover rate because it was super ambitious. Like if you actually see Strider 2, dude, it's so like the art style and the gameplay is so awesome. Like it's literally like an arcade, like super like arcadey style, something you maybe see on like the Dreamcast maybe.
Well, yeah, it comes from the arcade, right?
Yeah.
It's super. 2 is also on the Mega Drive.
And the weird thing about 2 though, isn't it like really short? Right, Sebastian?
It's super short. Yeah, it's super short. So, and also with these games, since they're arcade games, there's no saves. It's just straight up. You have to just play through, and you can't save it at all.
Trial kind of stuff.
Save states. Yes, it's kind of you have to kind of perfect your runs essentially.
Sort of the replay value on a lot of these Sega arcade games is like you were just saying, is because there's no continues. Like if you were to do a full playthrough your first time on, say for example, like, well, I don't know, any of these games, right? Like Shinobi or something, or Altered Beast. Like if you're a pro at the game, you could beat it in like 20, 30 minutes just because you know the routes and all these things. But the fun is getting faster and faster at being able to beat the game. Like even to be able to beat one of these games your first time will usually take you like a good couple hours,
Yeah.
and a lot of resets and a lot of like fucks. So like that's the replay value. So it's like it's fun when you meet like a Sega Genesis collector or something, and they can like boot up a game and they kind of know it already, and they're just like, yeah, I can beat this in like 45 minutes. Like Aladdin's a good example. You could beat Aladdin in like 20 minutes if you know what you're doing, but to get to that point to know what you're doing takes a lot of repetition. But so it's not for everyone, but I personally enjoy it because it might feel like a really short game, but the replay it's almost like speed running, but not really. You're just trying to see how good you can get. It's there's something fun to it.
Eric, I think the Strider 2 you're looking at on the Mega Drive isn't the one on the PlayStation. I think they might have the same name, but this one has like more like Strider 2 on PlayStation has more like 3D backgrounds. It doesn't resemble the first one. It's a totally different like
Genesis and PlayStation.
Just so you don't get confused with that. There's a Strider 2 in 1990 and there's a Strider 2 in 1999.
For some reason, the Super Shinobi game on the Genesis here in Japan is extremely expensive. It's like $60 loose, but in America it's like 30 or 25. So I'm on the hunt for Super Shinobi. I have the they released the original Shinobi, like the arcade one, on the Nintendo Switch, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. The original Shinobi. I don't know how much you've played it. They have it for sale on the Switch. I have like the fight stick, so it feels like I'm playing on the arcade. Dude, it's that and Donkey Kong. There's some great arcade on the Switch. Some great emulation on there. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to bring up is like these ideas like with like we've been mentioning a lot about like this arcadey kind of feel to like games. I feel like I want to like separate because like I feel like now you don't really like newer games. I feel like who's doing that still like now? You know what I mean? I mean there is like there is like the indie like roguelike kind of. Like
that's it.
You do playthroughs. You don't like save and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like there's still like a difference. Because like it's meant to be. I don't know. I don't know how to like this like pinpoint what the difference is between back then and like newer games that are
the atmosphere the atmosphere for like modern games has certainly changed over the years, and like Fortnite. And battle royale games and StarCraft and Dota and like list any like competitive esport. They've changed so much.
Imagine like back then if there's like a Fortnite cabinet. Like no.
Oh, dude, yeah. No, no.
What's interesting?
I think like what you said is the probably the mostly and maybe only people who are making arcade games still are the indie scene.
Yeah.
So there's less money in it, but those who enjoy those games seem to almost always pick up those games no matter what. So they're faithful. Like you got Shovel Knight and Celeste and that what's that Dante Satan Hades game? I've heard that's awesome. I've heard that's awesome. Sure. So and Streets of Rage 4, I have a poster I just got here. You can barely see it, but I was showing it last week. But that recently came out. It's awesome. It's literally the arcade game, but just the graphics sprites are now like done by artists instead. So the graphics changed, but the actual gameplay is exactly like the original. So I don't know, for better or worse, it's only indie, but maybe it's a good thing. I don't know, because I mean the capabilities of an arcade game now, like in a Sega machine, like if you go to like an arcade in Japan, it's like Gundam, like fuck it, because they can do anything now. They're not limited by sprites. So I don't know, like, do they really want to make an arcadey game anymore?
Yeah. Well, now it's like with games, right? When they refer to like games, they say like if a game is like arcadey, they'll be like, oh, it's an arcadey kind of game. Or the gameplay is arcadey, where it's like, or there's an arcade mode. So it's like games like I think Sega still has that those arcade roots, and they're still making arcadey type games. For example, like the Yakuza series, I would say you can consider it more like an arcadey fighter brawler, right? Because you're kind of the nature of the gameplay, right? But I think nowadays, like the nature of the gameplay is what they refer to as arcadey, since games aren't arcadey anymore on home consoles.
Even like when people say that, though, I feel like it doesn't even like really translate to like if you think about a cabinet back like a Crazy Taxi game or like Time Trial shit. Like I feel like it doesn't refer to that. I don't know what it is. Like it doesn't feel like the same thing. Like I wanted to bring up like one like newer kind of thing. Eric, when I visited you in Portland, you were showing me the game Killer Queen. Like that's newer, right?
Yeah.
So like that's like
Oh,
I was
yeah,
thinking
dude.
about that. I'm like, yo, that's an arcade like game. You know what I mean?
And that's a great example of an indie team making an actual game that would have existed and could have existed back in the late 80s. Like 100%.
Yeah.
That game is awesome. They basically what's the game it's based off of?
I don't know.
Joust. It's called Joust.
Yes,
is the
Joust,
game.
yeah.
You're on little ostriches and you float. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, but those who know, you know. If you type in Joust for the arcade, you use this like flat mechanic where you spam the jump button to get flight. You gain momentum and bounce off each other, and it's crazy physics, but the physics are so crazy that it's fun. And they basically made a modern game called Killer Queen. There's only a few locations that really have the machine because they only made so many, but it's actually 10 player, so it's a huge arcade machine with and it's not even it's a modern arcade, so it's using flat screens, but it has a flat screen on one side, flat screen on the other side, and it's one team versus the other team. There's one queen, another queen, and then like different types of workers, and it's the best machine to have in a barcade ever because it's kind of a pricey game, but because you're playing with 10 people, like everyone pitches in money to be able to afford the next round. So sometimes like the loser buys the next round, or people just like, hey, I got $5, just put it on the thing and like, let's play. Because, it's $5. It's so fun. I highly recommend. There is a version of that game on the Switch, but it's a little different, but it's still very fun. It's the actual arcade is better, but the version they released on the Switch is called like the Black Queen or something. The Black Widow or something.
Killer Queen Black.
Killer Queen Black. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's online. You can play online. Yeah. It's super fun. I highly recommend at least taking a look at it. But if you ever find a real machine, it's in limited locations. But the one I know is in Portland, Oregon.
Dude,
go to Ground Control.
I think one of my favorite arcade cabinets for sure. Like,
isn't that awesome?
That was like one of the most you don't want to stop. You know what I mean? And everyone's like waiting to play. You're like, dude, that's what I love about like arcade.
Is it's actually,
you know what I mean?
It's not even like, oh, let's play Donkey Kong because it's nostalgic Donkey Kong. It's like, yo, I want to play that game. Like people actually want, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's actually a very, very fantastic game.
And
it's fun. Modern times.
Honestly, man, I think like if these big companies like Sega, like Capcom, if they're still like made arcade, like I mean in Japan they still do, but if they made like new arcade cabinet games, like people go to barcades. I'm like, dude,
they do.
Barcades are the most popping places, man. Like so many people go. I feel like you gotta make money. You gotta be able to make money.
And I would almost argue because I when I go to an arcade now, and I don't know if you've ever been to this is for listeners. I don't know if you've ever been to an arcade here in Japan, but they have basically, it's usually like a tower building. And each floor has different categories. So the first floor is all like the gotcha, like crane games, because it's, they want them to give them money. So they have those on the first floor. Second floor, all the fighting games. Third floor, all the rhythm games like Dance Dance Revolution and Guitar Hero. And it goes on and on. But
don't forget the horse betting games.
And the horse betting game, of course. So how could I forget the horse betting? But when you see like a new game like released by Sega, it seems that they're trying to like push epicness into like the modern era. So like you'll have like a Gundam game where you have the two joysticks and you can play online versus other arcades in Japan. So you're playing against real players and it feels competitive, but you can only play it there. So that's like how they get you to go play there. Like why would you play in the arcade when you can play at home? Because it's only here. But you have to imagine like probably the hundreds of thousands of dollars they're investing into that kind of game when they could probably hire a much smaller team to make a more like indie style game that's just a dedicated cabinet. And I don't know. I mean, again, it's hard to say because obviously like we are biased. I would say like I can't say that like a modern kid would look at that and want to play it. I think they want the flashy 3D graphics. Everything has to look like Pixar now. I've even heard like when kids go to movie theaters nowadays, if it's a 2D cartoon, they're not even interested. It has to be 3D Pixar because that's anime. The new. Yeah, like so. Yeah, and like Ghibli's making a new Pixar kind of game, a movie, and apparently it looks horrible because they haven't. I've heard it looks terrible.
I've seen it. It doesn't look that good. I think it's like you can tell it's their first shot at it.
Yeah. they should just not release that. Like they should like work on the movie and then realize it's not so good. Let's try again with what we've learned. Anyways, I mean, so again, all that being said, I would argue that if they just hired a smaller team and made really good games like Killer Queen that were only available at the arcade and you could play online or whatever, maybe have a home release to like the arcade builds the hype and then you can buy it and take it home and play it. I mean, I would argue they would do very well, but it's hard to say because I know I'm biased. Like I would for sure buy it, for sure go play it, but would the masses, I have no idea.
Another thing with America is like you still have to use fucking quarters. Like what are we doing, man? Like make a card and pay. I don't fucking get it. Japan has it all locked down. I should probably explain it. In Japan, you literally can like have a Metro card for like New York subway. Like that's the closest thing I can compare it to. You load money on, you tap it, you log in. You have like your whole like login, like stats. You can track everything. You're leveling up each time you go. Like this makes you want to fucking play. I was there. Every time I go to Japan, I use the same card, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna level up a little more on like the rhythm games and shit, you know. And it still keeps the scores. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. You know what I mean? But like here, it's like there's no like there's so much money to be made. I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like I think
I will say that I have been to some arcades. There's an arcade chain. I don't know if you guys have it on the East Coast, but it's called Wonderland on the West Coast. It's a nickel arcade where literally the instead of costing quarters, it costs nickels. But they charge you 5 nickels per play, so you're paying a quarter anyway. But it feels cheaper.
That sounds I don't know, but terrible.
That's just a gimmick.
But no, it's awesome as a kid, dude. You go in there with like 6 quarters and you can play, or six nickels and you can play a game. It's awesome. But the last time I went there for Christmas before COVID, it was probably a year and a half ago. I took my mom on like a date to go get some food, and I was like, "Yo, mom, you want to go to Wonderland and play?" She loves the what's the bowling game? It's called like skee ball. Yeah.
Skee ball, yeah.
So like, mom, you want to go play some skee ball? When we went to go play, they did have those load money onto a card systems installed on all the machines. Yeah, and this was like a year and a half ago. So I think some of the more modern arcades are starting to do it, but certainly if you go to a barcade that has Donkey Kong, they're not going to do that because that's part of the fun is that you know there's a nostalgia history for that. Yeah, I would argue, true. But they could replace it. Of course, they probably could. But the more like modern games, it's kind of sad though, dude. All right, this whole podcast, let's just talk about arcades. Like, let's just do this because I could go on this forever.
We're 40 minutes in, and we have another.
This is the Sega arcade segment of the podcast. Welcome. I'm Sebastian. I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to talk about the Pokemon Nuzlocke, but we got to save it
next
for
one. Next one for sure. And I might even just start my own Nuzlocke.
It doesn't have to be next one, but I just have a lot to say. I think we'll want to dedicate a whole episode for Sebastian and I. So I thought today would be good, but let's just talk about arcades. Fuck it. I had a point and I lost it. Oh boy. Okay, let's move on.
The quarters, the cabinets, quarters.
I had something to say.
Nostalgia, sad.
Nostalgia.
Oh no.
There's something about the arcades going the nostalgia.
Play games.
Oh! Don't interrupt, please. The sad thing about modern arcades and any like new, because you're like, why don't they make like a game that's like an old arcade game where it's like quick and you have to just try to get a high score? They exist. If you ever go to Dave and Buster's, but they're all games like Flappy Bird and other like iPhone fucking games, unfortunately. And I guess those games kind of are like arcade games. Like I get it why, but there's something really sad about going into the arcade and seeing a game that costs $1 on my phone and they want to make you pay. Go ahead.
I have one title.
Go ahead.
Doodle Jump.
Yeah.
Oh,
Doodle Jump.
Yeah. Doodle Jump. Exactly, dude. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Makes me just wanna.
And it's not even that it's a bad. It's just that they're like, hey, pay $1 to play this game that you already have on your phone, but we have a big button that you push instead of. It's like, dude,
like 2010. Like 5.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
and you know, if I don't have kids or anything, like I'm not married, but like if I had a family and the kids were having fun on it, then like God bless them. Like obviously who cares?
Inside, I will hate them, but
because they live in ignorance of just like, oh, this is a game that just came out, I'm gonna play it. Like, but we know, like, dude, this is pretty scummy. Like,
just imagine being the dad, like watching your kid at Dave & Buster's, be like, this fucking kid.
Play some real games.
If there's any hope for humanity as far as game collectors, one of the most wholesome posts I ever see on Reddit are like where it's always named something like this, where it says like raising them right or doing it correctly, fatherhood done right. It's their kid playing an NES, like on in a modern time. Like that's and you know, I would never restrict my kids from modern games, but I am certainly gonna let them have access to older games and just like see how they enjoy it, because I think games are pretty timeless in that sense, that if a kid doesn't know that there's better games out there, better controls or Fortnite or whatever, before they get spoiled with that, if you give them a game like an N64 that has horrible controls, they won't know any better. Like, because we didn't know any better growing up, is my point. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think they would learn to enjoy it, and they have the patience, and they, you know, whatever. That at least I want to introduce them to retro games as in addition to their modern games. And
bro, imagine being Eric's kid and I'm playing games. Like, dude, he has so much games to play. You can play like any
imagine being Anthony's kid, man. It'd be better.
Oh my god.
That guy.
He's like, you gotta play this. You gotta play this weed game.
Dad,
son, this is anime.
This is a gem.
My dad. I don't want to play your weed game.
Yeah, like imagine your like dad being like, dude, you gotta play this. Like, no, you can't play that shit. That sounds so.
Don't touch the game closet.
That sounds awful, dude.
That's so bad.
You have to play this anime shmup.
Yeah,
he's got
where you shoot out of like the girl's like boobs or something. It's like no.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I obviously don't have a kid, but I could imagine that playing retro games with your kids must be some of the most fun.
Yeah, like
you could have like a bonding thing. Like, you know, you go out to the park and then you come back and play some games. You know, you get that out. You got to get that outdoors in, of course. You got that in as well, but.
Dude.
Some of that bonding with the family must be super fun.
Put on the glove and play catch, son.
My dad was not a gamer, but I will be. So that's going to be interesting to see like what that's like, having like the parents. Because my girlfriend, assuming we stay together, she's also a big gamer, so it'll be funny. We're just a bunch of nerds.
What are you gonna do if Jenny brings up Monster Hunter and it's like, you got to play this, and you're like.
I think a joke's like, God damn. No, I don't dislike Monster Hunter. I just personally don't play it.
We can't do that first.
Dude, don't you have Monster Hunter?
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that if there's like rivalry between you and your spouse, like, dude, why are you introducing this game? Like, that's almost like the modern religion. Like, you have a wife that's wanting, you know, you want to be Muslim, but you want to be Christian, and there's like tension. Now it's games. Like, nah, dude, it's all about WoW Classic. No, it's about modern WoW retail. Like, no.
I just find that like perspective so funny, dude. My God.
What happened? I heard that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, what was
it was like
that?
something.
I just heard a big thud on my roof.
Maybe a bird
I have
died.
no idea what that was. No dead air. You guys keep talking, but I don't even know what to check here.
Someone fell on you. I want to bring up this. I think we can go.
There's no attic in this house.
Imagine someone just falls through.
I mean, there's like hella cats in Japan, but cats don't weigh that much.
Wait,
it could be a cat.
Loud, dude.
The
That
roof's,
sounded
like,
like someone
right
dropped
there?
like a bag. It was like right there.
Someone dropped a. That's a homeless guy just dropped his bag in his bed and he's gonna fall asleep.
It's a Monster Hunter.
Oh God.
It's a monster.
I wanna move on. I think we had a great nostalgic trip back to the arcade cabs and discussing, you know, children, some nostalgia. I don't know, man. It's a nice conversation. I like that.
What?
Hey, don't soil my innocent conversation, dude.
I'm being negative. I'm sorry.
We're gonna
We're just discussing.
someone's a little half glass full. I don't know.
I'm sorry. The way you say like we're discussing children.
We're just discussing the kids, man. Come on.
No, I'm sorry.
It's messed up, dude.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
I want to bring up this article. If you guys, I'm gonna put it up on the screen, but if you guys want to look along, it's in the Google Doc at the end. I mentioned to you earlier.
Little jump.
Shut up.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I'll read the headline. It's ROM site owner made $30,000 a year, now owes Nintendo $2.1 million.
Ooh.
Does it say what website it was? I'm curious.
Yes. So it is ROM Universe.
Where is this written? I don't see it.
It's
on the article.
It's like kind of in the paragraph that says while Nintendo originally claimed that, it's kind of like in the middle where that ad kind of is. That says further reading. You see that?
The top comment is like a sarcastic comment. They're like, "Well, this seems proportional. I'm sure Nintendo is suffering horribly from this."
Yeah.
They're not losing shit.
Yeah, so basically, and also I feel like this guy's an idiot so the owner of the site. So basically for ROMs, I don't know why you're listening to podcasts and you don't know what ROMs are, but I guess we can explain it. ROMs are basically, the game file from the cartridge or disc and it's, backed up onto a drive and then uploaded to the internet so you can download it, play it on an emulator. So there's different websites where you can get those files from. And I think this was a pretty popular one. I think this one included like donations or like a premium service where maybe you could like request games or something like that, and like they'll find it and like send it to you or something like that. And this guy, the owner of the site, admitted to making, I don't know why you would admit how much you made. He admitted he made like around $30,000 a year just from this website, which is it's a pretty good sum, for just uploading stuff to the, yeah, it's a salary of some low style job, And Nintendo learned of this and is suing for originally $4.4 million, but made its way to around 2.1, about like DMCA and copyright. So they said that it's about $90,000 a game. So it was like 49 games, and that's their, projected damages. And I don't know, man. I feel like really, if you're just gonna go after like pick random people doing this, I feel like that's you're not gonna win this case, first of all, because there's a million people doing this, and there's really no way to, get rid of all the people doing it.
When you say you're not gonna win this, when you say you're not gonna win this case, you mean that they're not gonna stop people from uploading, is what you're saying? I think they won the case against this guy, right? Like, isn't it determined? He's in no right. I mean, let's be honest. Like, as much as I want to defend the guy uploading, he knew what he was doing.
No, yeah. And he's definitely, okay. I think he definitely deserves what, happened, for sure.
That's debatable,
Let me read. So, the judge also awarded an additional $400,000 for ROM Universe's use of Nintendo's trademarks box art. Ooh. But Stormont avoided a permanent injunction on future infringement, with the judge suggesting there was no irreparable harm given to the monetary damages and the fact that the site has already been shuttered. So
was this recent? Yeah, this was recent, right? Because
this came out in like June. This article.
My only argument against where it's like, okay, Nintendo, why are you even doing this? Is because these systems are no longer being sold, but that's no longer the case with the Switch Online and the Super Nintendo Classic and the NES Classic. I wonder if those never came out, if they would even care, because literally before that, there was no way for Nintendo to really make, besides selling it on their Wii shop or something, which on the Switch, they're not releasing all these titles. So where else are people going to get these games? You know what I mean? There's kind of this well, they're doing this because you're not providing it, Nintendo. We would pay you, but you not, you know what I mean? There's kind of he's in the wrong 100% legally. Yes. But this is clear that there's people who want to play these games and they're going to get them. one way or another. I almost wonder if Nintendo didn't have the virtual console, if this would even be an issue. But now that they do, I can, I guess I respect both sides, but 2.1 million to a guy who's just doing his thing, like that sucks. It's not like a company, it's one guy. Like I'm surprised they didn't all right, just cease and desist, stop, pay like a, I don't know. That seems like a very high price to me.
Yeah. And someone did comment on it that said it was kind of like it says promoted comment, and it says the purpose of they said the purpose of this judgment is not to get $2.1 million from someone on welfare, which this guy was like unemployed and like not making any money, and the website was shut down, I think. And it says Nintendo's not going to recover a cent, and Mr. Storman, which is the guy, is not going to pay a cent. It's a judgment proof. So which basically means I think this is just a way for Nintendo to be able to just shut down these kind of websites whenever they want, basically. Which I guess is fair. You know what I mean? They have the right to do that.
Well, the thing is, right? Like you have these sites that are like a lot of sites that we know about too. Like there was like Cool ROMs, whatever. These sites, they promote themselves as ROM sites, right? Thanks. Well, sorry, Cool ROMs, but anyway, these sites, right? They're not like, it's not secret, right? They're up there advertising themselves as ROM sites. You can. It's not like they're hiding, right? They're there.
I never knew this was to be honest.
This is not like we're trying to get like illegal sports streams links. You know what I mean? It's not like that. This is like people. Essentially, it's just a repository for people who are backing up their games, right?
Mike cracks me out, dude. Just going around. I wonder if the difference between this and other sites, because I still use websites all the time, is that the sites that I usually go to don't charge money. I wonder if that's the difference. Like if this guy didn't make any money and Nintendo was like, yo, you can't get this out for free. Yeah. Just shut it down, please. Well, not please, but shut it down.
That definitely has a big part in it.
Like you made money on our trademark selling products that we made. Like legally, it makes perfect. They're like, of course, they're in the right.
But plastered your earnings online, like
like that too. So it's like, and also in the comments I'm reading here, I don't know if this, I'm just basing off of some comments, so who knows? But they're saying like lesson learned, don't go against Nintendo by yourself. Get a lawyer. So it sounds like the guy didn't even like try to get a lawyer. Like if he was on welfare, maybe he didn't feel like he could afford it.
Yeah.
So he just tried to go by himself and say like, no, I'm in my right. But like, no, dude, you were not in your right. Like you knew you weren't in your right. Like you got to get a lawyer, dude. But I wouldn't know what I would do in that situation.
Yeah, but hey, you're not going to win against Nintendo. Let's just say that.
No, and like you said, so if what you said is true, where it's like you owe us 2.1 million and you have to shut down our website, but he's not expected to pay back anything. It's almost just kind of more of like that's like the threat of the seriousness of it. Like this is how much you owe us. You need to shut down your website. You actually don't have to pay us anything, but this is actually what you would owe us. Like, I don't know. Like, that seems like a weird way to do it, but that's like the threat. Like that's where we are inclined to this much, but we're not going to take any from it. Just shut that thing down, and it's kind of scary.
This is how much money we lost essentially because of you.
Yeah, but it's like
for sure, man. Yeah. People downloading Link to the Past ROM files on an emulator, they lost money for sure. Yeah. It's crap.
I'm not gonna say that's not a valid argument for them. You know what I mean? In like a legal battle, like imagine some fucking judge being like, wrong.
No, if you're a lawyer and obviously this is like a clear and cut case. Like you look for any like excuse or reason to justify this on this side or this side. Obviously the guy's just in the wrong. But like from all right, let's just be real. Nintendo, like you didn't really lose anything from this. Like Nintendo also has a reputation for being bullies, even back in like the NES days, because they like when the gaming crash. I'm obviously not going to sum up all of it, but the gaming crash of the 80s, Nintendo rose from it, and Sega trying to bring back the home console, and they did it well. But they forced so many publishers and like stores. If a store was selling another company's game, Nintendo would basically like contact the store and say, hey, if you don't stop selling that other company's games, we will no longer provide our games for you. And if you don't provide a store with Mario, that's huge. Like the store is not going to function. So the store would stop supporting this other small company and only support Nintendo. So Nintendo has a history of bullying people throughout its history. It's successful, but they're bullies for sure. You know.
Yeah, they're very like to their brand and their license. You know, like it's very like it's Nintendo and like that's it. They're always very like separate from everything. You know, like I remember like even like third party kind of like it started off with like very little third party. It's like they didn't want to be like part of it all. You know. I don't know.
I mean, still like that.
Yeah, for the most. I mean, now with the eShop stuff, I feel like it's very like floodgates are open.
It's getting better. The only thing is they still have, though I don't know if they ever will. I feel like they almost consider online gaming as like some fad, like VR or something. Like they thought it wouldn't be popular. It's like I don't see how you can't clearly see that the ability to play with my friend from across the ocean is not just a fad. Like that, like we're social people and games are meant to be socially played anyways. Like I can't wrap my head around why you wouldn't be like, we need to make something online that's fun, but kid friendly and safe. Like I cannot believe that they're still like hesitant to that. I really don't understand. There's nothing to add to this argument because everyone kind of has their hands up. Like why not?
Yep.
I don't get it. It's weird.
Wasn't
And if they did,
sorry, no, you go.
I'd say even if they did like decide to like pretty much do what Sony and Microsoft are doing, like they already have their image established as like that family friendly company. And if they do end up adding some more mature aspects to it, which they already are through their like eShop and stuff like that, like it wouldn't change much for them revenue wise. You know what I mean? It would just open them up more because people already have in their minds that Nintendo is like a family based company. They make mature games, but they make games for everyone. You know what I mean? So I don't see the harm business-wise.
They've always done that too. They've always had they've had South Park on the N64. They had Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's not like they never had mature games. I mean, Perfect Dark, but I agree with you 100%. Their image, especially after the Wii, is certainly solidified as a family company, I agree 100%.
Their moves recently are like, okay, let's release this like Mario Kart like in the room game. Let's do Pokemon Go, whatever. Let's do Nintendo Labo, like all these kind of like gimmicky things, like the amiibos. They want to provide like toys, right? And like more unique experiences, which I don't know if it takes away from their actual like games, you know what I mean? Because I think it does reduce the quality of their games, right?
They've always done that though. I don't know. Yeah. I think they're always trying to sell. Like they've always had cards for their Game Boy but they're always fads. They're always fad. Are there any? That's a good topic. Are there any fads that Nintendo made? Amiibo is a big one, but it was like Amiibo aside, are there any like gimmicky things Nintendo did like that was so weird that actually like was worth it? I feel like all of them, they're always kind of like something stupid. Like really, like think about it. They always do some gimmicky thing or provide some new peripheral, and it's kind of shit. Like you're kind of like, okay, that was gimmicky, and I'm done with it now.
What do you
like the 3DS, right?
Yeah.
The 3DS, it's like you have like only a handful of games where it's like, oh, like I guess the 3D is kind of worth it for it. Like Super Mario 3D Land was kind of like it does a decent job of like the 3D on it.
Honestly, none of the 3D is good. I'm just gonna say I don't think any of it's good.
Well, the way it's implemented, dude.
I disagree. I think the 3D is
you're talking about the 3D like Switch?
Yeah.
I don't think so, dude. I've never ever used it. Ever. I've tried and it's just like I don't care.
I mean this in no offense, but you being colorblind, does that make a difference? I'm actually curious.
That's fucked up, dude. No, it's not.
I'm
kidding.
Why would I bully you? Sebastian's an asshole. I'm legit curious. Does being colorblind actually affect the 3D effect? Possibly, you think?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Because I got to be honest, I really like the 3D. The only complaint is that when you're playing a game, naturally you're kind of moving, and that fucks it up. It's very strict.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to be able to have to be so stiff to play. Like I can't do it long.
But they tried to improve it.
And if you could put it on a stand and play it, would you not play it in 3D? But ever?
But when I think of like successful gimmick, like it's got to be. It's got to be 100% working. You know what I mean? Like it can't be like
I agree.
I can only do this if I'm like this, and only for like 10 minutes. My eyes start to hurt. The Virtual Boy 2.0.
But you can turn it off.
the face tracking though. The new Nintendo 3DS had face tracking, so it would improve the 3D thing. I never bought it because I wasn't gonna buy a 3DS again. You know what I mean?
I had the new 3DS and I never used it.
You didn't.
That's
no,
just
you
me.
Didn't
Yes, I did.
You didn't have it.
What are you talking about? They got the new 3DS XL.
No, it wasn't the new. It was the 3DS XL, but it wasn't the new.
I literally have it.
I'm right
here.
No, I can show you. It's not the. Okay, try to play Xeno. What is it? Xenogears, Xenoblades, whatever on it.
Sebastian's about to get schooled.
No, I'm schooling Mike. 100%. Because we have the same model. We got it from our cousin.
Terrible gimmick. Terrible gimmick. Hey, dude, I gotta buy a new console with a little dumb thing to play 3 games. Oh, cool. This is great. I better play it. I better get it and spend $200. Not gonna work, dude. Not gonna work.
It was a working gimmick.
You lost this one, dude. You lost this one.
It was a working gimmick. I'm not supporting. I didn't think it was great.
It
was
somewhat successful, but great if it's a working gimmick. What are we talking about?
I mean,
am I wrong?
They made a 2DS. So I think that supports Mike's argument that people didn't really want the 3D,
dude. After
it was kind of like a fad gimmick, and then it's like, dude, just give me the 2DS for cheaper.
I honestly can't believe that Nintendo made a 2DS. That thing looks so stupid.
I don't like it.
But honestly,
I'd give it to a baby though.
Yeah.
Because if they threw that on the ground and started eating it, it looks a lot more durable than a 3DS.
Toast. It's like a toast shape.
It's like a piece of buttered toast.
It looks like the most un-Nintendo thing. Like the most un-Nintendo console. You know,
it does look pretty ass.
Because normally they're so about like the design. That's you know what? We just answered it. The 2DS is the best gimmick. 2DS? Come on.
Why?
Because it's flat. It's 2DS. That's perfect. That's literally perfect.
It's 2D.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd even argue that the Switch Lite is kind of gimmicky because you can't replace those faulty Joy-Cons that are burned into the system. Like when you're playing that,
or are they better?
I would hope they're better, but I don't know, man. The normal Switch ones, they drift. Like mine drift. I bought mine maybe a half a year after it came out. I bought it used, granted, but it was still in good condition because it was in Japan. But
don't you feel
they drift? But I have the option to throw them away, or just I use a Pro controller, and I guess you can do that with the Switch Lite. But the point of the Switch Lite is that you can play it on the go, not to like prop it up and play with a controller. That's not really the point. Because if you're gonna play with a controller, get the TV one. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't you feel
the Switch Lite is more on the go? The Switch Lite's more on the go, but then this regular Switch you can still play it on the go, right? It's just a little bit bigger.
I think I mean, I think they're both meant for like on the go, and I think maybe the normal Switch, but the Switch Lite is smaller though, right? A little bit.
It is. It feels better on the go.
Yeah.
The Lite. Like if you play it on the train, the Lite's preferred for sure.
Yeah.
But I
always see Switch Lite controllers.
Well, it's also cheaper, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say, when you got your Switch, like I got mine brand new too, and like I love the design and everything, but like when I feel it now, dude, I'm like, I mean, I have it right here. Like this thing, like I can snap this in half, dude. Like so easy.
Yeah.
And these Joy-Cons, like I can, and like this, like it just slides off now. Like the lock doesn't work. I'm like,
mine too.
Yeah, like I'm like, dude, like come on, like
it's like a 2DS.
My lock, the lock on my left side, I don't think it ever really worked. It worked for like a week, and then now if I like whenever I'm like flying home on a plane or something, and I'm like getting intense, sometimes it'll literally like slip out, like while I'm playing. It sucks. Pro controller.
I think the Pro controller is very comfortable and good. I use this for a PC.
The Pro controller is the only saving grace, I think, for the Switch because it's expensive, but it's such a good controller that I can't be mad at the Joy-Cons being shit. Because I'm like, well, there is this though. Like, you know what I mean? You could argue that it's ass, but if you have the Pro controller, you're good to go. And Hori makes their own controllers as well, and you can play GameCube controllers for Smash Brothers, and yeah.
You can compare that to the Wii, right? Where it's like Nintendo tried to push the gimmick of motion controls, right? They were like the first one.
Oh god, let's talk about that gimmick, dude. Good golly,
and then
I am not. I don't know, man.
The Wii U or
The Wii.
Wii.
Oh, the Wii.
Wii U's another story too.
Dude, did you
Talk
know?
about the Wii U.
Fun fact: the Dreamcast sold worse than the Wii U.
Really?
Fun fact: the Dreamcast sold worse than the Wii U.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah, the Dreamcast got done dirty for sure. Like it deserved. Like Sebastian said, at least those who know what it was and did get it enjoyed it because the library for the Dreamcast is incredible.
Yeah.
It did not deserve to do as poorly as it did, but there's a lot of like history you can look up on YouTube on why it failed. And the Saturn, well, the PS2 basically killed it because the Dreamcast came out. But if you keep in mind that the Dreamcast came out in 99, right? The N64 came out when 96. So like while you were playing N64 like Donkey Kong 64, imagine the Dreamcast with Shenmue like getting dropped into your lap. Like what a fucking upgrade that is. That's huge. A huge upgrade compared to what was out at the time. But looming over the release of the Dreamcast, people knew like 6 months later there's going to be the PlayStation 2 with DVD capability, and the Dreamcast didn't support it. And so their push was like, we got to get good games out immediately to get people hooked before the PS2 comes out, and it wasn't good enough. So the games that did come out are great, but the PS2 coming out, it just solidified its coffin death. It just didn't. It didn't hold up.
Also, like the PS2 had the dual analog sticks, it felt like it was like the next step. I don't know,
but Dreamcast had online like Phantasy Star, like it was so ahead of its time. And just I mean I don't know all the details, but I would imagine just a mix of politics and poor advertising and just led to its death. Unfortunately,
they should have went for instead of this lame ad campaign, they should have went for like, this is the arcade experience in your home. This is like, they should have focused on the actual like experience of bringing the arcade home. You know what I mean? And showing off the graphics, showing off that 60 FPS. Because Sony at the PlayStation didn't have that, man. Like they tried, but it didn't look as good.
Whoever did the ad campaign for the Dreamcast, I don't know where they are right. They might be in like a grave right now, to be honest.
Probably they're unemployed because maybe
that's the ROM site guy.
I'm surprised they didn't push Phantasy Star Online more. I wonder if they did. I'm looking to see if there's commercials for it.
Well, in America, they made
I'm
like
looking for the Japanese one here.
Console, like 2K, which is like cool, but it's the same game every year.
Looks like there was a Japanese commercial, but I'm surprised they didn't push that more. Like, yo, you can play online with your friends. Like that at the time should have been a complete game. You know what I mean? Like that should have sold the system.
Honestly, though,
like
I felt like I saw more commercials for PlayStation Online, PS2, because they had like the internet. Like I remember the one commercials for Ratchet and Clank, the third one. Like you could do online. And I was like, what? Like, that's what I remember. I don't remember any Dreamcast, like nothing.
That's years after the Dreamcast already had Phantasy Star,
Yeah. Like, I didn't hear anything. That was the first time I heard of online.
They just didn't play to their strengths,
Online on a console, I mean, like, obviously PC.
It doesn't help that the release of the Sega Saturn was so poor in the West. From what I know, they kind of just like released it. Like they didn't really like hype it up at all. They just like assumed because like here's the sad thing is like the Sega Genesis, like at that time it was like Nintendo versus Sega Genesis, and it was like that was the battle. Like they were kind of even neck and neck. Like there was actually like pretty, there was the 16-bit console war or whatever. And so at that time, it was kind of if you guys know the commercials for Genesis at the time, it was always Genesis does what Nintendo don't, right? So Genesis was the edgy punk rock cool kid. That's what Sega was. Like you were like, yeah, I'm a Sega fan. You're kind of against this kind of like Nintendo's cute.
Yeah.
But it's a child system, and in retrospect they're both incredible. It's just like when you're talking about like trying to build that kind of almost like a gang mentality of like, yo, we're Sega, like we're Nintendo. Sega was the cool kids, and when they sold the Saturn the way they did, and well, there was also the problem, if you know, the 32X was before the Saturn came out, they released another like upgrade to the Sega Genesis called the 32X, and people were so offended by it that Sega kind of slowly and actually quickly became no longer the cool kids. It's like, okay, now we're just suckers and we don't trust you anymore. And they lost their faith in their, because imagine like you're a diehard fan of the whatever, and they promise like, we're going to release this new peripheral. It's going to be incredible. Like, okay. And then you go and buy it and it's like, oh wait, never mind. We're abandoning it. Thanks for buying it. But we're going to move on to the next system. And you're like, wait, I just spent all my money on this peripheral to upgrade my system. And now I can't afford your new system. Like, fuck you. I'm going to Nintendo now. So the Saturn and the 32X did not help. Unfortunately, man, it's such a bummer, man, because the Dreamcast could have been so much more. And fortunately, it's still a great system. If you go back and play it, there's nothing holding you back from enjoying it. But I just wish it lasted another 3 or 4 years before it died.
You know what's interesting? If you go back and look at like pop culture in like America and stuff like that, like the Sega Genesis, I think, is more memorable in the minds of like people than Dreamcast or any other Sega console, right? It's like the most memorable one, I think, right? The Sega Genesis.
Well, it was huge, against Super Nintendo. It was, and I think back in the day as a kid, like you could only get one console for Christmas, so it was like you probably have a friend that was either a Nintendo kid or a Sega kid. All my friends growing up were Nintendo, and so was I. I didn't really know a lot about Sega, to be honest, growing up, but a lot of people I talked to, they're like, oh yeah, I had a friend, he was the Sega kid, and I was the Nintendo kid, so like I would ask my parents for Nintendo shit, he would ask for Sega stuff, and then we would both get to experience both systems that way. That's a pretty cool system, actually. But so I think Sega and Nintendo kind of knew this, so they had to, kind of separate. Like, oh, like, are you a Sega fan or not? And it's just unfortunate that.
Going back to the Wii as a gimmick, right? So,
gimmick.
The Wii had that gimmick of the motion controls, right? Me and Mike never were able to get one because we wanted one, but like. It was always sold out for like a year, dude. I remember I used to look at sites that would track like Wii stocks when I was like, maybe early teens or something like that. I don't know what year. I was super young, like I was on the website just looking at GameStop stocks, looking at those websites when it's gonna be green to see that it's gonna come back, And then finally, we never got one. But the Wii, I think culturally as like a gaming, console, because of the gimmick that it had, people were playing. Everybody was playing Wii Sports. Adults were playing. It appealed more to casual gamers. So it kind of set up this base of like, I think, giving gaming to a more wider consumer base. Like I think it made it. It was an important moment for
it's for
gaming culture
for all crowds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you had so many good games on the. I mean, we never had a Wii, but my one friend had one, and like that's where I play all Wii games. And then like he eventually modded it and just got all the games on it. And like, I remember one day I just sat there. I didn't even hang out with him. I just like looked through the whole library, and I was like, dude, this is nuts. Like Mario Kart, like dude, WarioWare. Oh my god, man, that was probably like my favorite Wii moment.
My mom was the super mom of the year because Sebastian, you mentioned that them being sold out for like years. My mom fucking got one for Christmas, like the holiday season, and that was the one year. It was the only time in my life as a kid where I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna look in the closet, like for the Christmas presents, because I never, as a kid, I could appreciate that if I spoil this, it's not gonna be as fun, so I'm gonna wait. Like I was that. I loved Christmas so much that I was willing to not look.
Yeah.
But because of the Wii coming out, I'm like, dude, I have to know. Am I getting a Wii for Christmas, dude? I gotta know. And I opened up the closet and I moved a blanket and I just saw the white box and I'm like, oh,
did you shit yourself?
That's
God.
So sick.
Did you freak out?
And it was kind of sad though, because then I knew, fuck, on Christmas Day, I gotta kind of pretend that I'm shocked. So that I regret it. But that is a memory of if I had to advise kids whether to look in the closet, I'd say don't. It's not as fun because you'll probably get something. I remember being actually like kind of bummed. I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have looked, man. But my mom got it. We got Twilight Princess, and I hated playing Twilight Princess. I had to fucking shake this controller to swing my sword. I hated it. I think the Nintendo Wii, in hindsight, was a complete gimmick with the Wiimote. As much as I loved Wii Sports, because I will say that aside, Wii Sports is awesome. But aside from the game that it bundled with, like I almost feel like the Wii Sports, if it was like a game, like you buy Wii Sports for the game itself is cheap, but it comes with this controller. So you pay $60 and you get a Wii Motion controller. But the actual Wii is just a normal controller. That would have been awesome. Because I think outside of Wii Sports, maybe WarioWare. I never really played WarioWare on the Wii, but like, dude, what a fucking gimmick. It's horrible. I hate it. I never enjoyed it. What game was good where you're like, oh, I can drive my car and then do a lasso and pull them in? Like, it was shit. And whenever like I wanted to watch Netflix or YouTube or porn, because to be honest, I was 10, fucking you had to like load it up. Even if you wanted to play a GameCube game, dude, it supported a GameCube controller. But if I wanted to play the game, dude, do you, Mike? Did you ever meet my friend Chiss?
Yeah.
Chris, but we don't respect him, so we took the art of his name. His name's Chiss. No, he's like one of my best friends. But Chiss and I went on a snowboard trip to Canada, and we're like, dude, bring your Wii so we can play Melee, like bring Smash, right? We showed up there, dude, with our GameCube controllers, loaded it up. But because the fucking Wii requires you to use the Wiimote on the menu to load up the GameCube game, we forgot the Wiimote and we couldn't play it the entire weekend. There's no way to load up your GameCube game with just your GameCube controller, dude. It's the most From that day on, I'm like, dude, fuck the Wiimote, dude. I hate it. There's no reason. Oh, it was so gimmicky, dude. You can say like, oh, it was fun. No, Wii Sports was fun. What game outside of Wii Sports was fun with the Wiimote? Name one. There's probably a couple, people listening.
You, like, dude, WarioWare was probably the best Wiimote game.
All right, I'll give it that.
You literally,
yeah.
You had like, they made it like I have to explain a little bit. They made like different positions to hold the Wiimote. So like some of them would be like the samurai, and it would have like this really stupid like animation thing. It's like the samurai, and it like goes like through this whole sauna treatment thing, and like they show you how to like do everything. And it was like the elephant trunk, and you have to like put it on your head and like do fucking mini games. Dude, it's the best fucking game. But I do remember. You have to. I'm telling you, it's one of the best games. But
that sounds like fun.
It's 100%. I remember. Now I remember. I think I had more times struggling with a remote than actually enjoying the Wii. Dude, the battery. Dude, like recharging that shit. Is this one working? This one doesn't connect. Like, doesn't work. Like, it's the
cursor's just fucking like flipping all over the place. I think if the Wii, if they could like go back in time and re-release it, if it was just like, hey, we also have this cool, think of it like the NES Zapper or something. We also sell the Wiimote with the nunchuck, and this supports games like WarioWare, Wii Sports, Tiger Woods golfing, tennis, whatever. Like, if it supported just a few games, I think it would have been a cool accessory that like these games are supported by this remote, and it probably wouldn't have done as well. I'm just picking in Eric world.
Yeah,
that would have been good. And then normal games like The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Oh my God. Have you played this game with the Wiimote, Mike? Like, no. Proper? Like, dude?
I know terrible things about it.
Dude. So they're now re-releasing it for the Switch, finally. And they're charging $60. Whoop-de-doo. Good job, Nintendo, you idiots. It's a great game. I actually argued it's one of my favorite. It had some of the best puzzles in any Zelda game I've ever. I really enjoyed it. The music's all orchestrated. It's beautiful. The design is great. I like it better than Twilight Princess. But the controls are ass. And when I say ass, dude, like you're thinking, yeah, okay, like you probably just no. Despite it being fucking The Legend of Zelda, I can't even describe to you how frustrating it was to kill the first spider. I think we talked about this last podcast. Like, that's a strong spider. No, it like you said, because they couldn't get the Wiimote to work on the presentation stage. Oh my God! And and if you've seen the game wants you to hold the remote up to register that like you're holding up, but literally like this is Link running around.
Yeah, it like follows your hand, right? Oh,
It's a great demonstration. Were the motion controls on the Skyward Sword mandatory? Like you couldn't play it with regular controls?
Oh, there was no option to turn that shit off, dude. It was built for it in mind. And like, so if you went and do there were puzzles where you're like hanging from a cliff and you have to like skirt across, but then you have to use the Wiimote to like swing it was horrible. There were some puzzles that were seriously only difficult because the Wiimote function was so shit. And I think they had like the Wii Motion Plus, so like that was like their hope was that it's like super wow, it's the Wii Motion Plus, so it's like super good. No, dude, it was ass. And actually if you look at it, I think that's the only reason people don't love the game is because it's not fun to play with the Wiimote. But I can put that aside and say it was an awesome game. I'm glad I beat it once. I wouldn't do it again. Maybe on the Switch, but it's a good. I'm glad people will get to experience it on the Switch. It's kind of sad they have to pay full price for it though, because oh my god, the game should have never had motion controls.
I read something about the new Skyward Sword where people were a little upset because of the amiibo thing, where they're releasing an amiibo, but the one I think of like the red bird, it like locks away like there's like a a feature that you can use in the game. I don't know if it's like for fast travel or something, or like a dungeon or something that's like hidden behind the amiibo. So like there's some kind of gameplay aspect that's like locked behind that amiibo.
So you gotta
I think people were upset.
That's their DLC.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
We don't do DLC, but we'll just have a little amiibo.
Like imagine like I think it was if you locked like fast travel in a game like behind like or like flying behind like an amiibo.
Oh.
On the topic of gimmicks from Nintendo and amiibos, how about that Animal Crossing board game that has zero gameplay and it's just randomness and you just touch
I never heard of it.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Right. There was a game that came out for the Wii U. Very short-lived system. I owned the Wii U for about a month. Didn't love it, so I returned it, got rid of it. As you know, we all know it wasn't a very successful system. There's probably some good games on it, but all the good games from that system are getting ported to the Switch now, thank God. So we don't have to go back and dig that console up anymore. But there was a game that came out. Let me look it up. It was called Animal Crossing
Amiibo Festival.
Amiibo Festival, dude. And this game, I'm not even exaggerating that it's so okay, here's how it works. There's one the Wii U comes with one Wii U pad or whatever, right? Like the kind of looks like an iPad or whatever, like a Switch, I guess. So, in order to play this game, when you buy the game, it comes with I think like 2 amiibos, so you can do 2-player. But if you say all 4 of us, like Anthony comes over, we're having a sleepover. All right, we're playing Amiibo. What's this game called? Amiibo Festival. Guys, we're going to the festival. We're gonna play some games, and it looks like Mario Party. You're like, oh, dude, it's gonna be like maybe like a little more kid friendly, a little bit more casual. Maybe we collect coins or collect the bells, and then whoever has the most bells wins or something. Oh, it's gonna be great. Here's how the game goes. You set the Wii U pad down. Everyone, you have your amiibos? Ready? Got my amiibo. Anthony, I don't collect amiibos because I'm not a weeb. Can you lend me one? Yeah, sure. All right, cool. I get an amiibo from Ant. Remember he had his Martha amiibo here in Japan? And he was like taking selfies.
Remember?
All right, so fucking weeb. And so we set the Wii. I start. I'm player 1, right? I got the Wii U pad. So in order to roll the dice that's above your head, like Mario Party, this isn't an option. You have to touch your amiibo to the Wii U onto the screen, and then the dice rolls, and your character walks to wherever it's going. Right? Okay, Mike, it's your turn. Not only
if I don't have an amiibo, I can't play.
Well, just borrow one from Anthony. You can borrow this one, and you can play. It's not okay. So here's where the design makes no sense to me. In order for you to make your turn, I have to not only have you touch your amiibo onto the pad. Like if we're sitting in a circle or something, I have to literally hand you the Wii U pad. I mean, I guess we could sit in a circle and do a seance and have everyone just touching the middle. But in a realistic scenario, we're all at the TV facing forward. I have to hand you the Wii U pad. So we're all handing it around, and we're probably drinking, right? So we're having food, we're drinking. It's getting messy. We have to hand it around, and you have to touch it to get it to do the roll. Not only this, but there's no actual gameplay. There's no mini games. There's no spot where it's oh, you landed on this. Let's all play a game. There is and I mean literally, there's no gameplay in the game. The game is you touching your thing, you get a random number, and your character moves and does something, but there's no actual game. You never jump, you never dodge anything, you never have to collect anything.
No mini games?
There's no goal. There's nothing. I mean, I'm telling you, there's nothing to it. Like it's literally the biggest waste of time ever.
You just bought Animal Crossing Candyland.
But it's not even Candyland. Like, but pretty much that. But I think even in Candyland, you get items and then you can use them. No, maybe not.
Yeah, you get like a card or some shit.
Dude, so it's like fucking bad.
Whoever wins is just by chance. It's like by chance. Like you just touch it and then like whatever happens.
Just a good old game of luck.
Completely by chance. You control nothing. It's all luck. This is the game.
Oh, you got a 3.
Oh, I won.
I got a 6.
Why? Because I touched the Wii U better than you did. It doesn't, dude. It's not even like a $2 game. It's like an offensive title. Like just burn it. How much was it? I mean, I think when it came out, it must have been $60. I'm serious. Like it came out full price because it came with two amiibos.
That's how they got
dude.
You.
If it like came with a physical board that you could play with or something, or it was just a better game. Like they just had something like you get, look, even if it required the amiibos because it's the amiibo festival. Like, all right, at the start of the game, everyone touch your amiibos, right? Okay, now everyone's logged in. Now get your controllers. We're gonna play this game. Dude, it's just there's a million ways they could have made this better, and
$60, dude.
I'm telling you, it's not even worth owning if someone paid you to own it. Like, don't.
I was actually gonna talk about the Wii because like I thought Wii was like I thought it was close to the #1 selling console, but I'm looking at the list right now and it's not. Like I thought it was.
Well, PS2.
Dude,
isn't PS2 the #1?
List. PS2, that's crazy actually. But in second, Nintendo DS. Would you call the touchscreen a gimmick?
No,
it might be a successful one. It might be a successful one though.
I think it was a successful gimmick. If we're doing ratings right now, like, good gimmick or bad gimmick.
Yeah.
Personally, the DS and the 3D, the 3D you can turn off. So just don't even worry about it. Just turn off the 3D.
The 3DS is just a DS.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's better graphics. It's better graphics.
That's true.
Because the DS graphics were ass. You have to remember that. Like they were not good.
You want to know what's funny?
The 3DS is actually pretty good.
The PSP sold more than the Nintendo 3DS. Isn't that
really?
Okay.
The PSP is awesome, but the software, I would argue, is not as good as the DS titles. That's pretty impressive.
Honestly, dude, holding a PSP doesn't feel good.
Especially with the one joystick. Oh, the joystick.
It like slips out of your hands. It's like it gets sweaty, just like slips out of your hands.
But honestly, I remember the only game I played.
It felt fragile.
Was Siphon Filter and Final Fantasy Crisis Core. And honestly, really good games. Really good.
Dude, the PSP has awesome games. Yeah. I agree, though. It does feel like a fragile, and it has like a moving, spinning in it, which feels weird. Like,
and the disc is just like, what is this disc?
Yeah, that was weird.
The PSP Go seems nice. The PSP Go seems good.
PSP Go? The Vita?
Yeah.
PSP Go was like the PSP, but like the
it's like you flip it. It's like small and it slides up. Yeah, people use it now for like as like an emulation console, pretty much.
I don't know what that is. So.
Yeah.
Emulation? Like Microsoft Simulator?
Yeah.
Like Flight Simulator?
That kind of. Yeah, like Flight Simulator.
Okay.
Game Simulator.
Cool. Oh.
Okay. I think it just means it's like a portal, like you can just put ROMs on it, like an emulator. I think is what he meant. Are you making a joke? Sorry.
Yeah.
It is early in Japan, and I missed the joke. Bada bing, bada boom. Sorry. No, dude. Going because if we want to expand on why, I'm not just gonna say the DS touchscreen was a good gimmick and then not talk about it, dude. WarioWare on the DS.
Yeah, true.
Okay, Nintendogs, dude. Kirby Canvas Curse.
Flipnote Studio.
You laugh at Nintendogs. I was a big Nintendogs that came out as a kid. As a kid, it was awesome.
You missed the big one, dude. PictoChat.
Oh my god, dude! You're sitting in class. This is before cell phones. you're sitting in class with your buddy and you just have it like on like the lowest brightness and you like send a dick pic, like, dude. That was some of the most fun ever, and it's too bad it wasn't online. I don't think it ever was. Maybe in Japan it was, but
it was like the like if you're near each other, the download play.
Yeah,
yeah, it was just
that was kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, dude, you can just connect to people.
Street Pass was a cool gimmick. I think that was a cool gimmick. Street Pass, you guys remember that? Where you like on the 3DS, if you pass, dude. On the 3DS. There was a currency built into the system. You remember this? It was so fun. So like, of course, it is a gimmick. No one's gonna argue that. But it was kind of cool to like come home after like going to school, and it's like you Street Passed with 10 strangers, and you're like, wait, what? It's like, wait, Ashley's got a 3DS, dude. Oh my god! And then like, because you'd see her character.
Yeah, I remember when Animal Crossing Wild World.
Yeah,
you would have like they use that, but like if you go near someone that has it, then like you can go fly to their island.
You mean New Leaf?
No.
Wait.
Wild World.
Did the original DS have Street Pass? I forget. I don't think
know.
it did.
It was a 3DS thing.
No, it had it.
No.
Yeah, it did.
No.
Yeah, it did. I'm not even kidding.
These are clearly two brothers where
it's not
Sebastian.
Street Pass.
No.
It's not Street Pass. It's like DS download play or whatever. Where like
you gotta have some
you're in the
flexibility
vicinity.
for the option that you're wrong. No. 3DS. No, not new.
No, but I'm saying we're talking about the DS, not 3DS.
Right.
Animal Crossing Wild World. So with PictoChat, you can talk to people if you're like next to each other. You know, you don't need to have an internet connection. You can like connect to the DSs.
Oh, you're talking about just wireless connecting locally.
Yeah.
Okay, that I don't think by definition that's Street Pass. When we say Street Pass, it was the feature where if your DS is closed but it's on in your pocket, like on standby, that when you pass other 3DS owners, you would actually get coins. Like it would.
Oh, really?
You'd look back up and say like you Street Pass somebody,
but in
and you
what? Like
click
a
on
game,
it, you show their amiibo. They would say like their favorite food, and then they give you an item.
Or for like Pokemon, right? Like if you passed by people that had Pokemon, like I think you could either like battle them or something like that because it would like register their trainer profiles and like stuff like that. I think it was a possible. You could see their teams or something like that.
It was definitely a gimmick, but it was pretty neat. Like I found it fun as a 3DS fan. Like when I'd come home and have like, oh dude, I passed 10 people. Hell yeah, dude. And you could play a little RPG game to unlock little like they have these if you got enough coins, you could buy these 3D or you'd get puzzle pieces in the game. You'd get puzzle pieces from people. And if you collected all the puzzle pieces, it would make an image that you could then view in 3D. And that I would argue, Mike, was the only cool thing for the 3D. You'd get like a Metroid Prime 3D model and you could move the camera and look at it in perfect 3D and it looked really cool. They did a good job with that. It was just totally like behind the scenes extra bonus content type of gimmick, but Street Pass was cool.
But like I back to like the regular DS, like the online capabilities like with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, like they had the GTS system where you can like trade anything online. You could search like I don't know, like, and like what I was talking about the download play. I don't know I guess it's like that concept of Street Pass, but like the earlier version. But I remember in Animal Crossing,
you're talking about download play.
Yeah. I remember like in Animal Crossing, like if you're next to people, it'll like connect, and then you can like visit their island. So you could like I remember I'd be in the car, and while we're driving, I'm like, oh, maybe I can find someone while we're like driving by. You never find anyone.
You never find anyone.
You gotta be like right next to them. I don't know. That was cool.
I remember when in the thing to note on the download play is that if I own Mario Kart and you guys don't, we can all play.
Yeah.
That was the big
really cool
point was super that cool. one person can host it, and then it's obviously limited. It's not the full game. It was like only the battle mode, only certain stages. If you own both games, then you can do anything. But that was so cool. Like I could like, guys, you want to play? Like, well, I don't have the game. Like now you do. You know, you can just download it for free. Mario Kart was good for that. Going off of the online, because you were talking about, Animal Crossing had online, Mario Kart DS had online. I think Mario Party maybe it didn't, but I never owned Mario Party. But there were some great games for the online. I played Animal Crossing a lot. Metroid Prime was online, and it actually supported the microphone. You could shit talk people.
Yes, that was the coolest part.
Yeah.
Even I think Pokemon did it too, where you could hear each other's voices and it'd be kind of weird. Like you could like chat on there, you know?
Yeah, it was, and they've since kind of gotten rid of that. They now have like a phone app that you have to keep on at all times for it to work, and it's shit, but it works. Just call on Discord pretty much. But anyways, but what I was gonna say is, like, as a kid, that was so fun. I remember going specifically to McDonald's because when that came out, it was kind of when like Wi-Fi, like people had like online Xbox Live via like a LAN connector, but like Wi-Fi was still kind of new. It was still kind of rolling out. So like my family didn't have a wireless router at that time. So me and my brothers every day, we would ride our bike to the game store and go to the donut shop, get a donut, and then go to McDonald's and order like, you know, a water or like a chicken nugget or something, and just sit there for like 3 hours and play Mario Kart DS online because they had free Wi-Fi at McDonald's. That was like a new.
Yeah.
They released it alongside with Nintendo specifically for the DS.
Oh.
And so you just yeah, so you smell like McDonald's, but you're just playing games. Like, it was so fun. In addition, I know I'm talking a lot. I apologize, but I love the original DS. If you own, I could show you right now, but if you own an original DS, you know, a DS Lite, a Fat, whichever model, DSi, you can still play online despite the servers being offline. You're like, okay, private servers. But I'm just going to tell you how easy it is. There's basically like, maybe there's a few, but to my knowledge, there is one private server that supports all online games, and all it requires, there's no modding, no hacking. All it is that when you connect to your Wi-Fi on the DS, you have to go like search for a wireless access point and then type in the password, and then you're logged in and it saves it like a phone. While you're doing that, there's like a random setting for like the DNS server, or there's some box that you usually just ignore, like you just keep it at default.
Yeah.
But if you click on that box and you type in a specific number for this private server, it's online public. I have it on my DS right now. It makes every game online again, like today. Dude, so like I could grab it right now, but I bought Mario Kart. I'm like, no way. I actually, just because I heard that rumor, I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'll go buy. I bought a Japanese DS. I bought a Japanese copy of Mario Kart, put it in there, put in the code, and I was playing online. Granted, like, it's a small amount of people doing it, so it can be hard to find. But like, if I message you and say like, yo, Mario Kart, and you say yeah, and we search at the same time, we will find each other. And you can add friend codes, of course, and like that totally works.
We tried to do that together, but somehow I couldn't get it to work. I don't know why.
Yeah, I was able to play with other people, but I couldn't connect to you for whatever reason.
Yeah, it was weird.
Dude, you know what's crazy?
I went on the disc. Yeah.
About the DS. The DS is region free. So, and especially in Japan, the Nintendo DS Lite is probably the best just like starting retro console. If you're getting into it, I think that's the best starter. Because like, I
think there's also pretty good like flash carts, I think, as well. Like, I almost want to consider getting one.
Dude, it's like, and in Japan you can get them for like $5. Like, so cheap.
Yeah, they're
like good condition, and you can play Game Boy. Or can you play Game Boy games on it, or no?
If you have an original Fat DS,
yeah, the original Fat. But the DS
supports all of them.
Yeah, but the DS Lite, does that play any Game Boy?
It's GBA.
Just GBA.
Just GBA, right? Which I think is a great addition. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's awesome. Some people, you've maybe seen on like eBay or Craigslist where some people, they'll buy an original Fat DS and they'll rip off the top screen and use it as a Game Boy Advance console.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. Are there any limitations on the original Fat DS in regards to Game Boy? Does it not support original DMG titles, or does it?
I think it does everything.
I think it does everything.
Yeah.
It does everything.
Yeah. That's a fucking monster of a system. I personally, I like the Fat. Yeah. As ugly as it looks, so I prefer the Fat. I think it looks better. It's what I grew up with. Yeah, the light's okay, but it's all like, it feels all oily. Like, it's got this kind of like, I don't
glossy.
know. The original, it's solid. You could call it ugly. I understand that, but it's the best. I think, and it supports the most.
It would just get damaged easily. The Fat gets damaged easily.
Yeah, the plastic's kind of.
It's kind of shit.
Mine kind of got my hinge kind of got destroyed after a while.
Yeah.
Man, I remember when the DS was coming out, like before it came out, they had the demo model at my local GameStop or Game Crazy when Hollywood Video was a thing back with like video rentals. They had the demo one, and the only game they had was a demo of Metroid Prime Hunters. And I I went in there like twice a week just to play the demo over and over and over and over before it came out. And that was when they had the demo model. It looked even different. I don't know if you've seen online before the fact when they like revealed the DS, it looked different than the one that actually came out. It was it was weird, like weird grooves around the D-pad, and it looked even worse, believe it or not. Luckily, they changed the design before it actually came out. Still looked ugly, but it was much better. And
that Metroid game was actually included in our fat DSs, like the demo version.
So
the demo was, yeah.
God, I have so many good memories with the DS.
Yeah.
My only regret with the DS is that there's no easy way to connect it to a computer for doing like a live stream or a YouTube video. That's the only bummer, is that you're kind of forced to emulate it. And then if you're playing a game like WarioWare that requires the thing, I'm not going to use my mouse to play WarioWare. Like, it's not going to be the same. But so I unfortunately don't play my DS very much because it's literally only when you know what I mean? Like, it's solely I want to play this and play it, and there's some great games. But if I could capture it and share it with people or like you guys, like via the computer, I think I would be much more. I would have like a stand on my desk, like, let's play some DS, because there's such great games, and it would be fun to.
That's a fun like live people. Thing too, you know, and like stuff. That'd be a fun thing to do. Maybe you could do like a you know how they have like those drawing pads? Maybe there's a way to like do that, dude.
You probably could.
I'm sure there's a way.
There was a service that you could pay online. You'd send the guy your 3DS or your DS.
Yes, I remember seeing.
And he would mod it.
I remember.
And he would send it back to you, and it had HDMI capture abilities.
So crazy.
But it was only like one or two people in the entire planet doing it.
And it was the guy in like Germany or something. You gotta send it there.
And they no longer do it. So I think it's impossible to get. So now if you want to get a DS that supports it, it costs like upwards of, thousands of dollars because there's only so many that exist. So that's the only bummer. Didn't the Wii U though support some DS games? I know, but it was only eShop. I think that's how some people get around it. Is I think the Wii U, because it had the touchpad, they actually did kind of like a virtual console, but for the DS. Oh, really? I don't know about that. Wii U DS support. I think that's how some people got away with it. And I almost wonder if you could hack a Wii U, you could put games on it, because that if you could play DS games on the Wii U, and obviously it supports HDMI, it might be worth getting one nowadays just to play DS games. I wouldn't even play Wii U on it. I would just play DS simply for it's like getting a capture card essentially.
Yeah.
I'm going to start watching the videos here, man. I don't know. Do you guys know anything about that?
I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know. Yeah, but is the Wii U touchscreen?
Yeah. It is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So there's a guy playing like Mario Kart DS on his flat screen TV via the Wii U, and I don't know if he modded this. I wouldn't get if like the top screen is on like the TV and the bottom's on the Wii U. So I guess you would hold it as like if you're holding a 3DS, you're holding it. You're looking at the top screen and then you're touching the bottom screen, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. Like you're holding it and you have a stylus and it's a little heavier, I guess. I don't know. It's probably not as good, but
it seems like that on the Wii U Virtual Console they had the DS games.
Right. So I think it supports DS emulation, and then I'm watching this YouTube video. This guy is doing like he soft modded it. Dude, I didn't even man. I need to stop buying like consoles because I have too many. But like, I guess I never really thought about it until this podcast. Like, I gave up buying the PS1, PS2, PS3, like we were talking the other day, just because for money. But dude, if I could like, because that was the thing I missed. I guess it wouldn't support 3DS. That's the only like setback. Because if the Wii U was able to soft mod 3DS games as well, I think I would buy one because I don't know, when I go to a game shop in Japan, there's so many 3DS games for so cheap. Uh-huh. But because the 3DS is region locked, the DS isn't, but the 3DS is region locked.
Yeah.
So I don't want to play fucking like a story-based game in Japanese. Yeah. So as much as I want to buy these games, if it was region free, I would just order the English one online or something, or maybe I can just own a whatever. But if the Wii U supported 3DS and I could just load like the files onto it and then like live stream them, I think I'd start collecting for the 3DS again, or the original DS, because some of the games aren't that expensive.
Yeah, they have really good games too.
Dude,
A lot of, like a big range of different
weird
ones.
that the design of the 3DS in Japan is like the games are inserted from the bottom, and the cartridge is like a totally different shape. It has like a little like sticking out part on the top, and then in the American version, you insert the game from the top.
What?
Wait, what?
Really?
Yeah, I think it's totally different design. Because I thought that the 3DS was region free, and I bought Super Mario 3D Land, and I tried to pop it into my American 3DS and it didn't work. And then when I looked at a Japanese 3DS, the games are inserted from the bottom.
No, you're talking about the new 3DS, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, the new one did that, which I didn't buy, so I didn't know that. But I'm looking at a new Nintendo 3DS, and it pops in from the bottom. They must have redesigned the guts.
I see a 3DS with a bottom slot. What the hell?
Oh, really?
But I also see ones with a top slot.
No, I'm looking at 3DSs and there's no bottom slot, so I'm not sure. I think it depends on the model.
Maybe it's just a new, because I remember I was looking at it and I was like, "What the hell is this?" You know,
I had the original, like the blue, ocean blue or whatever that came out. The 3DS XL is an awesome design. That screen is beautiful.
Yeah.
I still have mine. I have an American one. I just wish I could buy Japanese 3DS games and pop them in. That's all. Even if it wasn't Japanese, I'd probably buy more games. It's unfortunate because
I wonder why they changed.
I don't know. It's a good question. I'm really not sure because, like, of course, I own an American 3DS. I could import a bunch of 3DS games, but I imagine it's more expensive. I can't live stream it, so there's just not enough incentive to me to want to spend money on that. When all these other games I collect, I can at least know I can share it. For some reason, that's very. It makes it kind of worth. Yeah, yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, the new 3DS. I guess you're right. It has it on the bottom. That's. And I think it was only like some games that really benefited from the new 3DS. Like I think they released what was that RPG game on the Wii?
Xenoblade.
Xenoblade. I think they put Xenoblade on the new 3DS with the boosted.
Yeah.
Dude, biggest bullshit was you can't play Super Nintendo on the Virtual Console on the regular 3DSs, but they only allowed it for the new Nintendo 3DS.
Oh, like it came with a Virtual Console or something.
So they put out the store on the 3DS shop, right? They had Virtual Console on it, so you could download Pokemon. They put Pokemon Red on there, Crystal, Zelda games. But then they started putting out Super Nintendo games, like Earthbound was on there, right? Super Mario World. But you couldn't play the Super Nintendo games unless you had the new Nintendo 3DS. So it's kind of like, why?
That's so stupid.
Because they have to have a reason to sell it. Like, why would I buy your system? Because it has Super Nintendo, haha. Like,
and the fact that they named it the new, they put it in the title, dude. Like,
I guess because they had
titling ever.
Well, because they had the Nintendo 3DS, the 3DS XL, the 3DS LL, the 2DS.
Get out of here.
And now the new Nintendo 3DS LL.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. I think it's because they just ran out of, like, acronyms. They're like, okay, if we did, like, a Nintendo 3DS LL Plus or...
Yeah. It's like a car, like, models.
That's a hard thing to explain to a mom, huh? Like, so what's this? Like,
LL, they buy you, like, a
new one
fucking 2DS. Like...
I'll get the 2DS. Yeah.
Dude, I looked at the 2DS on Google, dude, and I just saw pictures. It looks so bad. It just looks bad.
Awful. The only thing I've heard, like we said, is I've heard on people on Reddit that are like, as much as it's ugly, as a parent, I love it because it feels indestructible and it was cheap. Like it was like $99. I'm pretty sure.
It's like $100. It's crazy.
Parents loved it for like little kids, so I can't bash on it too much. But I wouldn't own it, but I can see how it appeals to that for sure.
Just having those two screens not in a foldable format, where it's just like on like a flat like surface, just like one big screen, one smaller screen. It just looks like so awkward.
It doesn't like angle towards you either. Like at least with the hinge, you can like angle it a little.
Yeah,
you'd have to get screen protectors for sure on that because it's so exposed. You know,
It's like you're just putting a sticker onto a flat surface.
Imagine putting it like screen side down.
Oh, all the buttons getting scratched and
a kid just going like
that hurt.
like sliding it.
You need like a little lid for it, like a Tupperware to like cover it.
You like a
Man, if I could soft model Wii U for some DS games, I would consider it just for the ability to. I is that not like a thing? Do people like? I almost wonder if I go to like Twitch,
have to be, man.
like DS, Wii U, like there's not people who play this. Like, I'd be surprised.
I don't think so.
Is it because like Nintendo would get mad at you for your system, or probably not?
No. People always just emulate Nintendo
Get
games.
sued for $2.1 million. You know.
Yeah.
Just quick.
So, would you guys say that the best Nintendo gimmick was the Nintendo DS?
We can bring up
so far in our discussions, yes. Yeah,
Sebastian, I know that you got the DSi.
I did.
Which I don't even know. So they took out the Game Boy slot and they put a camera on it. So that's your incentive. You have
I don't know why I wanted it, dude.
Camera on it.
Looking back on it, I don't know why the hell I wanted it. I was like, oh, it's a camera.
You know the only good thing about that console was that like shop with games.
Well, that was the first time they introduced it, right?
Exactly.
So they didn't have it on the DS.
That was the first shop they had. And the two fucking games was that there was like a music
Birds
maker
and
too.
Bees.
Dude, Birds and Beans.
Birds and bees. Yeah, birds and beans. Birds and beans.
Dude,
Beans.
Birds and Beans. Best game. I think it's the best. One of the best.
Birds and Beans? What
Look
is
up Birds and Beans,
dude. You don't know Birds and Beans, dude. That is an
Birds
intense
and
game,
Beans.
dude.
It's sick.
Oh, it's a Mario game?
No. Look up
it's on the Mario Wiki.
Nintendo
Birds and Beans. No,
DSi Birds and Beans.
DSi, yeah. Dude, that game was...
DSiWare is what it's called. It's a DSiWare.
DSiWare. Look up this game, dog.
It's a remake of one of the mini games from from WarioWare.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Game Boy Advance one.
Dude,
and it was cool. It was cool because... So, let me talk about my DS, because so was mine. But the game, it's like, as you played it, right, it's like, it starts out like kind of like, the music it has like a cool like soundtrack, and you're just like a bird on a screen. You're shooting these things that are like these little, I guess, seeds that are coming down, beans that are coming down, and you're just shooting them as a bird. And then as you get better and better, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. So like more and more come down,
background
and
changes.
like the background changes. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's like an arcade game. It was fun. It was fun.
I guess in hindsight, it's unfortunate to have to accept that we were asking like, well, what big publishers make arcade games anymore? It's the iPhone games. It is. Like, this is an iPhone game. Like, they have those games, you load it up, it's, Angry Birds or Flappy Bird or whatever. It's an arcade game where you try to go as far as you can. I'm serious. But it's sad, right? Yeah, Mike's just getting sad over the reality that that's the future of arcade games is the fucking iPhone. Doodle. It's unfortunate.
Doodle jump.
Doodle jump, dude. Give me a little doodle.
The name of this fucking podcast, Doodle Jump.
Chuck E. Cheese, dude.
Well, boys.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like as a kid growing up, they're like, "Oh man, I had so much nostalgia. Remember the iPhone, dude? The Model 1? Yeah, dude, that was when Nintendo was in their prime. The iPhone 3.
Let's play Crossy Road.
It's just not. Oh, Crossy Road, dude. That was one at Dave & Buster's.
Yeah.
I had a friend who used to. Well, I had an acquaintance that was a little crazy. He used to actually.
You don't even want to be like associated with him.
Dude, well, no, we were like classmates. I knew the guy, and he one time he's like, dude, he basically like, I don't know how he invited me, but he basically said like, dude, I just want to let you know, this is gonna sound weird, but like, I basically like for a part-time job, I hustled Dave & Buster's, and I'm like, what does that even mean? And he's like, are you free Friday? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, you want to come to Dave & Buster's? We'll get a beer. Get some wings, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm like, all right. So I go to Dave & Buster's out in Clackamas, Oregon. He's like, all right, let's just get some food or whatever. Get some food. And afterwards, he's like, all right, let me show you what's up. He had him and like 2 other friends of his showed up. And they're like, he's like, oh, what's up, man? Like, oh, what's up? Like, they're there like daily. What these guys do is, because a lot of the games are like iPhone games or whatever, you can master these games from home, like from your phone, and like figure out like the best way to play them. And then when you go to the Dave & Buster's, if you're good enough, like you have to, it's not like anyone can do it. This guy was crazy. Like it was kind of like gambling, where like he'd be playing the game and then like he would die and be like, oh, you know, there's a 15% chance of that. Like run it back. He knew like the stats on like, all right, I'm investing this much for how much return. But they basically figured out a system where there were certain games at certain times that had like, it was literally like a casino where like, oh, this game has a big bonus. Let other people play it so the bonus gets higher, and then go in and win the bonus, because rather than, you know what I mean? Like the bonus increases. They had it down to a system where they were going like, seriously, he was there. He like went there like almost every day, but he had like a point card or whatever. And your tickets load onto your point card. And they had a system where at the end of each month, I was so blown away by this. By the end of each month, they would all like pitch in their points, and then they would buy like Nintendo Switches or Nintendo Wii U's at the time, I think, and then sell those on eBay.
What?
And they did it so like efficiently and enough, and they like charted everything and had graphs and everything, and spreadsheets and stuff, that they knew they were making a profit. So they were doing it all the time, and they just enjoyed doing it anyway, even if it was like minimal. But he's like, yeah, dude, I make like, you know, a few $100 a week doing this. It's like, damn. Like, but they invested a lot of time in it. Granted, it wasn't just like they just walked in and like they knew what they were fucking doing. But he showed me a few of his tricks, and I was able to like, I was like, okay, I can see this. And he was also really, really good at that. What was the DDR spinoff where the arrows are in the corners instead of up, down, left, and right? I never liked those games. There's a Dance Dance Revolution spinoff called like Beat Mania or Spin Mix or something, where instead of it being up, down, left, right, it's in the top left, top right corners.
Yeah.
And him and his crew showed up. And he's like, all right, we're going to play DDR for a bit. I'm like, all right. And these guys, dude, I mean, you've seen like crazy YouTube videos of people like, they turn around and they still know the moves. That's what these guys were. They would like, he would jump into the song, and then halfway through the song, they would load up a 2-player game, right? So there's 2 people playing, but there was 4 people total, and they would rotate just for the fun of it. It was like a challenge. Like they were this good at the game where like 2 people would play, and then there's a point where the song like has like a 2-second pause, and then they would all shift over one. So the guy on the left would switch to the right, the next one would go in, and then they'd keep going. And they showed up, and they like changed into like workout clothes and put on like their Nikes and grabbed like water bottles. Like, all right, let's go. So when you ask so you don't want to be affiliated, it was like, well, yeah, it was a little strange. it was a little strange, but I'm not trying to make fun. It was revealing. It was shocking for sure.
Yeah,
but
that's wild.
Like Dave & Buster's
crazy.
It's a whole world no one knows about.
Yeah.
They didn't catch on? Like the Dave & Buster's didn't catch on at all? Like that they were doing something?
They weren't doing anything illegal.
Yeah, they're just...
What were they doing?
They were just figuring out the system.
Make a profit, dude. Because there's so many people that go in there. There's just like a select small amount of people who is actually winning the prizes, and like, you know what I mean? Like as a company, it's Dave & Buster's. I don't think they really care.
Yeah, they don't give
a shit. It's not an actual casino. They're not going to, hey, you're winning too much on that video game.
And those prizes are made to be won too.
Exactly. It's like, fuck off. I figured it out.
Cool.
Like, I'm going to go back.
Damn.
Yeah.
How do you even figure something out like that?
You can go to get Dave & Buster's every day. Figure out like I can actually win.
At the end of that, they're like, so you want to join? You're like,
I know I talk too much over you guys, so I won't say too much. But in relation to that story, some friends of mine and I found a website back in the day that seemed so sketch. We're like, no way this is true. It was a flash game website that had 5 games every day. It was kind of like a casino type of game, like a roulette. But because they're programmed games, we figured out how to beat some of these games. Not every time, but there was a pattern to it. Like if you do it right now, you have your best chance of winning. Every day, the high score of each game was contacted. Like your account, they would email you like, hi, you were the high score of the day. You win a prize. Here's the prizes. You could get, at the time, an iPod Touch, which was, it just came out.
Yeah.
Just came out, iPod Touch. You could get $100 cash as a Visa gift card, one of those like Visa, credit card gift cards. You get an iPod Touch, a Visa card, and like 2 other items that weren't worth it or whatever.
Yeah.
So me and some friends, I'm like, dude, this is probably bullshit, but we should just try. Well, let's like spend like a week and try to win one of these games and see if one of us gets the prize. Because what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to send you Anthrax in the mail. Like, what's going to happen? So we did. We spent like a week, 2 weeks when we mastered this roulette game, and we would take turns because like there was only one game that we mastered pretty much, and we're like, all right, like let's let Eric win today. Like, okay, thanks. And then I would play all day and I would get the high score. Once I got a certain score, I knew I was pretty much good. And I'm like, all right, there's no way, but it's like, all right, send us your home address and your name and your phone number, and we'll send you, your prize. And I'm like, all right, again, the worst that can happen is they're just gonna send me spam mail, right? Like, what are they really? They're gonna swat me or something? A month later, I open my mailbox, a fresh iPod Touch, brand new from Apple.
Oh my God.
So I showed this to my friends. I'm like, you guys, it's fucking real. I can't remember the name of if I remember before the end of the podcast, I'll name it. It's obviously gone now. But this was like, I'm so proud of this story.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things where like you and some friends were like, I don't know, dude. It's kind of like Bitcoin. You're like, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't. And then it pays off.
And it's always...
you're like, yeah.
And you got an iPod Touch.
Always like those games like that are like chance. It's always like, I can never win, dude. I'm never going to win.
We won. We fucking figured it out. And so it was once a day, and we would, or maybe it was once a week, but I think it was once a day. And it was, we would just take turns. And a friend of mine, he's like, dude, I've gotten like 8 of those Visa cards, $800 cash.
So you had to like pay to play it, or no?
No.
Oh, what?
No, it was free.
Just free?
It was, I mean, they had advertisements. I think you had to sit through an ad every time the game reloaded. I think that was the catch.
Yeah.
So they obviously made enough profit per day that enough people were trying that they all saw the ads, and they're like, all right, pay $100 to one of the guys. Like,
dude.
Yeah, dude.
Now I see like a big thing on like some Twitch streamers are doing like just gambling, like casino stuff online.
I think online gambling has gotten popular with crypto, right? Is that why? I think it's because of crypto.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think so. But like, I see some people like losing like the top stream, like a lot of big streamers losing like a lot of money, like 70K. Like, it's crazy.
It's a popular trend, and I'll be honest, when I'm watching it, it's like, dude, this kind of makes you want to gamble. Yeah. But fortunately, I don't have any money to gamble with.
Dude,
so.
I mean, you got that little piece of Bitcoin. There's, I think, one called like there's this one game called Crash where it's just you can do it in crypto, and it's literally just like a rocket going to the moon, and it's like a random like you just wait for how long it like goes, and like it's a random like time it just like crashes. So like the longer you wait, the more you can win, but like it can just die. You know what I mean? And you lose everything.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
I think I saw that game, or at least a similar one, and it's by like a times, like you win
yeah, like
1.5 times.
Yeah, like a multiplier.
Right, it's a multiplier. I saw the multiplier go up to like past triple digits once.
Yeah, man.
100 times.
And when I look at it, I'm like, should I just?
I know, dude. Because
go for one.
I'll do one.
Is there a gray law with gambling with crypto, because you're not gambling with USD, that it's kind of okay?
I mean, I think people actually do in actual money though, online, or I don't know. I don't completely know, but
I think online casinos, because I used to play some poker, and my friends were like kind of explaining it to me.
Yeah.
I think if you want to win money, you have to do it through a European website. And you have to set up like an account that they can send money to legally, that then you can transfer, and there's some fees, because American online gambling is not legal.
Really?
In the US. Account. But I think but all these streamers are doing it, and I imagine the way they're getting around it is because it's like, oh, they're just playing a game and they win this virtual currency. It's like a video game.
It's legit. It's not real. It's like money. Sponsors now. It's like a gambling, like casino and everything. Like,
imagine little kids going on Twitch and they're like, I want to win.
I want to play. Mom, give me your credit card. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's I'll be honest though, when it's crypto, because you kind of don't feel like you're using real money. Yeah. It's like it's like play money. It's kind of enticing.
Blackjack, like, and they have like the live tables and everything. You're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's like live. It's like live.
Like legit. It's like streamed. Yeah, like live. People doing tables and stuff. And you can like sit in on like poker. You can like take a seat. It's cool, man.
Are casinos in Vegas doing that kind of thing?
I think they have to
Are
be.
casinos in Vegas?
That's smart,
like,
dude.
Do they have like a little crypto corner in like a
I'm pretty
Las Vegas casino?
I was watching and I saw like the guy was going into like one table to sit down, and you see like behind it's just like 20 different tables, just like a dealer, and it's just like empty table, and it's I think all virtual. So I don't know, man.
This is perfect on the topic of Sega arcades. Is casinos the original arcade?
Yeah.
Shout out to casinos, the original gaming
Honestly,
arcade center. Dude, gambling's fun. Unfortunately, it is fun. Did you guys ever? Did you like when I don't know about you guys, but when I turned 18, there was a casino. For those listening that might not be in the U.S., gambling is very strict in the U.S. But if you go to certain areas like Vegas is an exception because it's on an Indian reservation. That's Indian reservations are allowed to. So when I turned 18, there was a casino that allowed 18-year-olds into the casino. They'd give you like a wristband that said I'm not allowed to drink alcohol, but you could gamble.
Yeah.
And on my birthday, I'd go in there. But I'm a frugal guy, so I go in with $50 or $100, and I say I either play until I lose this or I double it, and I'll at least stop and then maybe like resume or whatever. And I doubled my money on my birthday. I don't know. Do you guys ever play blackjack when you go on vacation or anything?
I've only like been in. I've never like deal. I don't know. I'm just too like. I don't know.
No, it's okay. I respect people who don't because it is
in high school, dude. In high school, we were just going black. Like in class, we'd just be doing like the turnaround, and we'd just be doing blackjack for like
dude,
$5
and I used to we used to roll dice. Did you guys ever roll dice in school?
No.
Dude,
that was a bit past my times.
We'd get single bills and we'd roll dice. I remember I was on on
the street corner.
No, like my friends and I we went on there was a football camp. I was, believe it or not, played football. All my friends played, so I was just on the team and I just dicked around and just got good exercise. But
try to get the girls.
No, definitely not. I got rocked. Football sucked. But every year there was a Boise camp football trip where you go to Boise University, Boise State, and like all the high schools would come and train. In reality, it was just a party, like not drinking, but like it was just so fun, like to be there with like all the boys and like you're at this campus university.
Playing dice.
Skateboards aren't allowed, so everyone would bring scooters. So it was like scooter squads going around, dude. It was fun. Boise State, that was like the best part of football. And but on that trip, it was always a popular thing where we'd gamble the whole time. We'd roll dice or play. What's that game called? Not Egyptian Rat Screw. No. There's a game called AC Doocy. You ever heard of AC Doocy?
No.
Oh my god, guys!
AC.
I gotta get you. Dude, we gotta get some just single dollar bills because you're playing with like $20 with your friends at that point, dude, and play some AC Doocy. That shit is so. It's a card based game.
Oh yeah.
You basically like AC Doocy. You basically like so say like I'm the dealer. And I put it's all obviously cards, so it's random. But I put like a 2 down, and then like a 10. And it's Mike. It's your call. So like the pot's at whatever. Everyone has to put it in ante to get in, so it's $1, right? So if you want to play, you put in $1 and you say like hit me basically. And if the next card is valued between 2 and 10, you win the pot.
Oh.
So you're betting that the next card will be in between those two values. So if you get an ace and an ace counts as 1 and it also counts as high. So the only way you break on the next card is if it's another ace. Because if it's a match, if it's matching the two, it breaks. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
And you actually owe the bet. So if the pot is like $10 and it's like a 2 and a king, and you're like, oh dude, easy, a bet. You're matching the pot for $10. But an ace comes out and you lose, you owe $10 to the pot. And now the pot's bigger, and now it's to Sebastian.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. And it just rotates. It's super fun. Super fun. And the dice was fun too. And I remember I bought a Boise State backpack with the earnings from rolling dice. That was like my prize. I'm like, dude. It was like a trophy.
Do you still have that?
Yeah.
Boise boys.
I gifted it to a friend of mine before I moved to Japan because I didn't have room for it. But he has it.
That's so dude, I remember card games are always like the best like drunk games. You know?
Oh man, we should do a gaming podcast on just like board games and card games. You know? Just like the family games.
Yeah.
Dude.
Like you're talking about card games.
We have a lot of weird foreign ones, dude. Because
me and Mike played weird games.
Yeah.
What's a weird game? What's one of like name one?
Sebastian knows better than me. I don't know. We had one
What do
that
you
had
remember,
like
Mike?
we had one that had like mushrooms. Like
Yeah.
it's like a mushroom.
So there was
forest.
one that was called grzybobranie, and it's like you have these little, which in Polish it means mushroom picking, and it's literally just you're like a little gnome guy, and like you pretty much just go around, and there's these mushrooms that you put on the board, and they're different colors, and they're worth points, and literally you roll a dice, and you have a little basket, and then like whoever can collect the most mushrooms wins.
Sounds dope. It's just like
It's kind
Mario.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, as a kid, it's fun because there's like little mushrooms on the boards, and you just collect them.
If you take the magic mushroom, does your character stray from the path?
I don't know. We gotta look at. I gotta look into it because I don't remember anymore.
Let's try.
It's that Amanita Muscara, dude.
We also had another one though that I don't know.
There was one that was kind of racist. I think.
I was just about to say. Now that I think about it, it sounds kind of racist.
So the
Wait, what's
game.
racist
Put it
about
together.
All right, so I'll explain it. It's called Chińczyk, which in Polish means just Chinese person. And
All right.
literally,
Read you loud and clear. Okay.
it's just like it's like the simplest. I think there's an American variant of it. The way that it works,
Yeah,
it's
but
like
they just
you
decided
start.
to name it Chinese guy.
Yeah, and there's like Chinese like dragons on the board, and like this Chinese guy, like stereotypical looking Chinese guy. And literally, you start. You know that game where it's like you have like four.
You got to
of,
go
like, those,
around
like,
the board, and
pieces.
whoever goes around the board enough times and gets 5 of their pieces wins, basically.
Why is it called China Guy?
I don't know.
Because they're greedy. What?
Like, hey, guys, I got this new game. It's called Chinaman. You want to play? What's it have to do with China? Oh, no, not much. Just a name, but
I'm just trying to win or something.
you guys ever play Pass the Pig? Ever hear of this game?
No.
Oh, I was a big Pass the Pig, man.
We never really had a lot of like American game stuff except for like video games, I think.
Okay. Pass the Pig was awesome. It came in this like travel case, so you could take it camping and stuff. I'd always bring it camping. It was basically like Yahtzee, where you basically like everyone gets a scorecard and you roll dice and you just add your points, and whoever has the most points at the end wins, and it's all by chance.
Yeah.
But instead of dice, they had these literal like these rubber pigs. Like they looked real. They weren't like cartoony. It was like a pig and a pig.
Yeah.
You get 2 of them, and you
I'm
roll
looking at it right now.
The pigs are designed in a way that when you roll them, they'll either land like on their snout or on their back or on their ear. If they're doing like a break dancing, like where their heads like pivoted and their legs are in the air and they're on their ear like this, that's worth the most points. It was called I don't remember the name of it, but Pass the Pig. It's just, as a kid, I brought it with me like to school and shit. I played it with my friends. It was awesome.
This looks so
Pass
sick.
the Pig, dude. It's like $10.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to own this game. It's awesome. Pass the Pigs, dude.
I remember I played
Oh,
Yahtzee
that's
once.
a great
Dude,
game.
I remember
This is
a
a fun
memory.
game.
This is a memory. I went back to
It's just one of those like you're having a barbecue
Yeah.
or you're camping or you're having a picnic and you just
Yeah.
need something dumb to play. It's super fun.
I remember
Yeah.
I
Sounds
went
fun.
over my friend's house.
It's
and
awesome.
They were like, "Oh, you got to play Yahtzee," and I'm like, "I never played that." And they're like, "What?" And they looked at me like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" So they taught me Yahtzee in a night, and like, it's fun.
It's
There's
fun.
a lot of good board games, man. Like, kinda,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it's like a nice cafe with some board games, or a bar with some board
Yep.
games.
There's I wish we all lived in Portland because that bar there's a not the barcade, but there's another it's like a Warhammer shop. They sell like, Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. They have a bar inside, so you have to be 21 to go in. But in there specifically, if you order a drink or something, you gain access to all their board game. So people go in there and just have beers and play these like really obscure games that have some of them have like really complex rule sets, which turns off like the average person. Like I probably wouldn't, but like Settlers of Catan, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a popular one that went kind of viral. But yeah, that would just be so fun because I always go there. I'm usually in there by myself or like with one friend, and we're not trying to stay there all day.
Yeah.
But when you see like a group, you can tell there's people who like schedule like one day out of their week to go and play a game.
Yeah, a bunch of
Just looks so fun. That's really cool.
Yeah. Damn. All
Yeah,
right.
did you hear the last? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no.
We could wrap this up. I was just gonna send you the Pass the Pig, the score sheet.
A score sheet? I want to see.
It names all the moves and the cider, the
interesting.
trotter, the razorback, the making bacon, the leaning jowler, the snouter, dude. The leaning jowler was the big one.
Oh my god!
That's what came in the box. That's so nostalgic.
The scenario.
So making bacon, if the pigs are touching each other, you go back to 0. So you don't want the pigs to touch. You don't want to make bacon. Making bacon.
I love it. I love it.
Making
That's
pigs.
Damn. Well, all right. You know what? We've been going over 2 hours. It was a nice, cozy podcast. I hope you guys, whoever's listening, thank you so much. If you made it this far, our 3 fans. Podcast is found anywhere, audio platforms, wherever you're going to listen to it. YouTube with the video. SCANLINES podcast. That's it. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you guys
much.
for listening.
Bye.